Change of range.
Welcome everybody to the DPC Southeast Asia Upper Division coverage for Season 2. We are here with one BO3 for today. It's going to be Boom Esports versus Execration, but I've got a whole bevy of people to help guide you through it. I've got Black, I've got Lacoste, and I also have Secret Lab chairs to thank for their top quality and helping making this event possible. Welcome everybody to more DPC action. We covered SEA yesterday. We saw Boom yesterday.
I mean Execration.
We saw Execration yesterday, yes.
Yeah.
That's why you're here, Black. What do you think about them?
I'm here. They looked decent, not super good, not super bad, but I have high expectations for Boom, so I'm expecting them to be able to take the series, if not 2-0, at least 2-1.
Okay. Wow, that's high expectations. What do you think about Boom last season? Because Lacoste, they swapped out one of their players. They got Dreamacell now instead of Drew.
I talked about it in the previous season. I'm not sure why they decided to swap Dreamacell in the first place, because he looked good. I remember him and Mikoto just being a standout players in the Boom. I'm like, someone's gonna poach these guys from their teams, take it to probably some of the Western teams. But Drew, his performance wasn't really top-notch. You could feel that he was a bit inexperienced. Now they got the Dreamacell back. He's a big Phantom Lancer spammer. I think this might be his patch as well. His most played healers are Lifestealer, Morph, PL, Phantom Assassin. All these heroes are very good in the current patch.
Yeah, he's a really good hard carry player, which is what they lacked last season. And then they got 23 Savage, and then they looked really good in this season, at the end portion of it. But then, of course, they just barely missed out on the major, unfortunately. Yeah.
And then 23 Savage jumped ship. He's on T1 now.
And then he made it to the major anyway.
He did.
But we'll see what happens this season.
I have high expectations for Dreamacell regardless. Yeah, I'm with you that I thought that it wasn't even like a lateral move going from Drew to Dreamacell, because given their playstyle, it kind of felt to me like, I don't know, maybe they were trying to give Mikoto more to work with, because Mikoto can definitely be a game winner all by himself.
Oh, for sure. He's been the standout player from Boom in the previous season, that's for sure. He's Storm performances, Puck performances have been on point, and this guy is definitely the one to look out for. He can single-handedly win you the game.
But it's a very limiting factor too, right? If your mid player has to carry the game every time, you can't really pick these Vipers, you can't pick these Razors middle, and now with Dreamacell back, they definitely have that option again, where they can make both of them shine.
Yeah, and for Execration, I felt like most of their issues were stemming from the draft in their series yesterday versus TNC. So don't really know what their relationship is between their two cores and how they're going to balance that out. But I don't know, their hero pool was kind of discouraging yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, both the teams really just picked very comfort. They didn't really tailor to the patch.
It's very 7.28 heroes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they'll definitely have to take it up a notch if they want to stand a chance here.
They also like swapped the roster from the previous season. They have Yoey, who played position 1 last season, and the Palos from Vice joined, so it's kind of a reinforcement thing. They look good. Like, they started the previous season well, and then they just kind of crumbled. Like, they didn't have any like real good performances. I believe they started against the TNC. They beat them
2-0.
Yeah, they beat them 2-0, and I'm like, yeah, man, this team's gonna be good. You know, they just beat TNC.
Everybody thought that.
But after that, they're like pretty mediocre. You know, I think with the newest additions, with the role swaps, they might stand a better chance.
Yeah, Lizard was telling me that Execration single-handedly broke like a bunch of predictions last season because came in so hot. It was similar to how we felt about Liquid in the major. They came in so hot, and we were like, oh man, Liquid's just gonna destroy this entire tournament. And then it was that initial momentum that kind of deceived us.
Yep. Sometimes starting too strong is a hindrance. Like,
true.
you gotta start up slow, you know, and then max out when it's really important. Like, if you max out at the beginning and then taper down.
Yeah, that's how Dota works, you know. You're scaling, you're snowballing. You can't get that level 3 ulti straight away. Like, you need some momentum.
You got to start level 1, work your way up, and then at the final day you want to be level 30.
Yeah.
You have all your talents,
all
everything.
fully talented, fully statted out.
Exactly.
14 plus 14 stats at that point now.
Plus 14
wow.
brain power, yeah.
Did you watch any other regions yesterday? Because I've been trying to gather as much information on which heroes are. I saw a Pudge in South America, Lacoste. Did you hear about that?
No, really?
5-position Pudge.
Yeah, it's viable, dude. Trust me. Like, this hero is viable, especially because of the cooldown reduction on a hook from level 1 is 3, 2, 1. So yeah, less seconds, so you can be more viable, and there's always going to be a threat of like hooking into the tower. I think this hero has potential, the saving potential coming up from the shard as well, 400 cast range. Not just that, like the hero can easily snowball, he can get you out of the trouble. You basically, once you get the shard, you have a double save. Not sure. I gotta check the game. No one messaged me, guys. I'm a bit disappointed in you.
It was interesting. It was so it was a 5-position Pudge. Enemy team had a 4-position Hoodwink and a safe lane Templar Assassin, which we can actually take a look at the carry comparison in these two matches between Execration and Boom, Palos versus Dreamacell. But the carry pool, I think, is people are not being as adventurous as I want to see. Seeing a lot of Phantom Lancer because Phantom Lancer is really damn good, although fewer shards than I'm expecting on PLs. Everyone keeps telling me it's good, and then like 90% of the pro games, no one's building it. They're just going Manta, Heart, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's either going to be range carries that are going to be popular, or melee carries that can actually get on top of you, like PL, maybe AM.
Wow. Either melee
PA.
or range heroes are going to be popular.
No, but a lot of melee carries can't get on top of you, right?
Sure.
Like if you're like a Naga Siren, you can't really get on top, or like even Terrorblade will have some problems now.
I think we're going to see more range carry heroes in this meta because, you know, Abyssal Blade got nerfed, range Manta style got buffed, so I'm expecting to see Drow Ranger, I'm expecting to see Luna. Luna with the Manta style, with the new shard, looks good on paper.
Yeah, and Morphling too, apparently.
Sure.
Even though he got nerfed, win rate went up, and in Pro Dota he's still destroying.
Because after reading the patch notes first, I'm like, Morphling's not going to be playable. You know, having that mana cost on shift is just going to destroy the hero.
How much is it per? 10,
10,
right?
10. Yeah, and then I read like, yeah, he got more int gain. You know, his Adaptive Strike is 50 mana. His shift got buffed, so it feels like an actual buff to Morphling.
Yeah. But there are matchups that I do think are unplayable now. Like PL, AM, they will destroy you because you can't morph anymore at all. And but if you don't play against these heroes, it's probably just a buff because you don't really run out of mana that easily.
Like, if you pick Morphling early on, you need to protect the hero with most likely 3 bans. So I expect teams to pick it in the second or even in the last phase.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about, we saw Huskar yesterday, and Huskar had to be protected with a ton of bans. It was like Necro ban, AA ban, Viper ban, and so if you want these high priority carries, which Huskar seems just as broken as everyone thinks he is in pubs, same thing in competitive, and it seems to be you're better off dedicating bans right now to protecting your carry as opposed to like, oh, let's ban out all these roaming 4 positions, because no one cares about roaming 4 positions right now, because your mid lane always has full HP.
Yep.
So all these Earth Spirits, these Tusks, who needs to ban them?
Yeah, I mean, it's still the starting shoes of the patch, so people will figure out some things, maybe make POS4 viable in another way again, maybe that they like try lane, safe lane or something like that. But we'll have to see, people will experiment more. But for now, yeah, like POS4 roaming seems pretty dead, unless you're an Earth Spirit.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought as well. Like, you can't really rotate. Like, the thing you can do, I think this is still very viable, you know, dragging the creep wave between tier 1, tier 2 tower with the Earth Spirit, then TP rotating to the mid, roll in, you have another, like, a silence or a slow, whatever you need to get, and yeah, it's kind of a guaranteed kill on the enemy mid laner, but other than that, like, position 4 kind of feels underwhelming in terms of moving around the map. As you mentioned, you know, everyone just outpushes the wave, they get the bounty runes, they get these water runes, so
Go
like
jungle.
almost
So
full HP, full mana all
What
the
brought
time.
4 position back to roaming potential? Because I know whenever bounty runes first got nerfed to not give experience anymore, a lot of 4 players were complaining. They were like, oh, well, I mean, like, what's the point of me moving around the map now? Half the objective was I make space to pick up all these bounty runes, I get experience, and that's, like, if I don't get a kill, then at least I get some levels somehow. And then 4 position roaming became viable even after that nerf, so what changed?
You can still, like, you don't have to roam. You can still, you know, pick up the 3-minute bounty. You can stack the ancient camps. Like, stacking is still very good, so you don't necessarily need to go for the kills. Like, depending, like, what heroes you have, what timing you're looking into the game to, you know, go and do stuff. But
There's also this concept of like invisible pressure, right? Like, you're off the map, the mid laner will just automatically miss some CS, some experience, and you will get an advantage there. But for sure, like, this patch just seems pretty rough to make anything happen, like, because the bounty rune spawns so far away from your lane, so you can't really steal that. Maybe the minute 4 water rune you can contest, and then make the mid lane for your own player much easier. But we'll have to see what people come up with.
yeah, because there's so many stuff in this patch that is undiscovered. You know, you might think you know, but
You don't know.
like, in a month, we might just be, yeah, man, how we didn't think of that, you know, Broodmother position 5, Huskar jungle, whatever. Like, people are going to be like that, or just like we've seen 2 people mid, like Liquid yesterday, they had 2 heroes on the mid lane.
Dude, I had that happen to me in a pub game. I was
You
Storm.
thought they were griefing, right?
Yeah, they were not. They were both playing properly. They were taking every rune. I couldn't do anything. And my team was like, why are you feeding mid lane? They're griefing. I'm like, no, they're playing seriously. What can I do, man? You're not helping me at all.
Was it like the 5 position in the mid?
No, it was just 2 mid lane. It was Zeus and Void Spirit.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they crushed me. I couldn't do anything. I'm sure they kind of griefed each other a bit, but they were playing seriously and they won the game ultimately. So.
You have like 2 playmakers from mid that are like slightly under leveled, I guess?
Yeah, but then they both got level 6 when I got level 7 or something, and then they owned us. I'm sure it wasn't, you know, the same with Liquid yesterday, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think tri-lands are going to make too much of a resurgence, though, because...
No.
I mean, like, I do like the idea that 4 positions can't roam as much, because we've had a long, long era of that. And I would be okay with Earth Spirit not showing up for a little while.
Yeah.
I miss, like, where's Ogre at? I miss Ogre.
Nah, screw that hero.
What?
So boring, dude. Nah, so boring. Ignite bot. Not fun to play.
Bloodlust actually got nerfed, so he's probably not going to
Sorry, Bloodlust bot.
Yeah, Bloodlust bot.
So, there. Going to this draft, we see a Lion Void Spirit. Void Spirit, not as popular lately, but picked into a puck again. Yeah, I don't think Void Spirit got nerfed like a whole lot, so
he
he's
still
very
feels
playable.
pretty much like a same hero to me. Same goes for Puck, you know, even though he received a nerf on his phase shift.
Yeah, the silence is a little bit longer cooldown.
Yeah, but still feels like a good hero. I love Lion. Lion is just, you know,
He's
a
the
big
boy.
memer with the shard. You know, he can do so many like fancy stuff. Once you pick up that shard, you become magic immune, 3 targets. Clockwork. Okay, not the best hero against Void Spirit, but Lion doesn't like to play into this hero. Like, historically, heroes like Earthshaker, Ancient Apparition, Lion was really not that popular, but like Clockwork, just you find him, he's dead. Like, you can't really like item. I think like itemization against the Clockwork got buffed because Force Staff instead of ring you use a Fluffy Hat, which is really nice for some offlaners position 4s. Like, that extra HP instead of the HP regeneration could kick in. But yeah, Lion's never gonna feel comfortable playing into Clockwork.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, picking heroes that can't get bursted by Lion feel pretty good, especially as a support. Because as you said, once you're on top of him, what can you really do? Not a whole lot. Puck. I still don't know about Puck. Like, I thought it was nerfed quite a bit with that phase shift.
Yeah, but it was so good to begin with, even a few nerfs here and there.
Sure, like, he's still very good. Like, we saw it yesterday against the TA. He won the lane, which shouldn't happen, of course, but Puck is still Puck in the mid game, you know. Phase shift, same cooldown. Silence, same cooldown. It's just a little bit nerfed in the early game, which is very warranted, but can still make a lot of plays happen once you have the Dream Coil.
like Void Spirit, like we've seen this matchup throughout the major, throughout the last season. Void Spirit against the Puck. Early on, Void Spirit has the slight advantage in the laning stage. Then like Puck takes over. He can't do anything against the leash mechanic.
Do you think it warrants a pick? Like, sure, you win the lane a little bit, but I always feel like Void Spirit struggles so much in this game.
Because like there is coil. Like, what do you do? Also, like your itemization in this matchup, like it must be Yule Center.
Always.
It always has to be, because you need to get rid of the silence, and you need to be able to just buy some time while you're coiled.
Yeah, I always, like, even this game too, they picked it into the Puck again. Never a big fan of it. I don't know. Like, people just like to torch themselves, I guess. I mean, it makes sense. They're playing Dota.
It goes both ways. Once you get the Scepter on Void Spirit, put a silence on
Sure.
Puck,
It's just so much easier to set up on the Void Spirit for the Puck than it is the other way around.
And then I guess in terms of coil breaks, the more traditional combos that we see is like Tiny and Earth Spirit, but even a cog bounce could be enough to pop the coil.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are still picking Tiny as a position 4. Like, I've seen it in some Division 2. We've seen it yesterday, 2 games.
That's half the reason why Execration, I think, was kind of faltering, is that they were trying to force that.
I mean, they picked it 3 games. 1 game as a core. It was really good. It was Lilgun, actually.
Oh, you're
It
right.
was
Yeah,
Lilgun.
the
It was
first
Lilgun,
series.
yeah. They picked 3 times Tiny. 1 time they played mid Tiny, they owned the game super hard, and 2 times post 4 Tiny did nothing.
Like, when I compare, like, heroes, I read the patch notes, you know, I'm like, yeah, this hero is not, like, what's a good top-tier position for? Let's say Tusk. Like, Tusk didn't get many nerfs, still feels super strong. Like, compared to Tiny, what he brings to the table, like, in 99% of the time, it's just going to choose Tusk over Tiny.
Yeah. I mean, it's just only like you kind of bank on enemy mistakes, right? Like, you get a toss into the tower, maybe a kill, but it's not happening anymore. And like, it's 2021. People are, especially in Pro Dota, are way too good for that to happen.
Smarter, wiser, better. Phoenix gets picked up by Execration.
Phoenix Lion. Okay. No real frontliner yet, so it's going to be quite difficult for them to get any good team fight going.
Seeing a ton of Underlord in all regions. Is Underlord the go-to? Is it just because Centaur is getting banned out every single phase? Here we have Centaur available. Mars gets banned out, but yeah, I'm seeing way more Underlord than we ever saw. Towards the major, like 3rd phase picks, we would always be like, Underlord's good here, and then they would never pick it.
I mean, Underlord has always been a good hero. Like, even in pubs, has a very high win rate, and now he got buffed quite a bit as well. And it makes a lot of sense against these Pucks and Miranas, like what to pick. It's very
At the
good
start
hero.
of the previous season, like, there were a couple of Underlords being played on the mid lane, if you remember.
And they did it very well.
Yeah, they did well, because like the whole area is pretty much covered by the Firestorm. You can't kill that hero. He's super tanky. His stats gain is pretty good, and yeah, like the root mechanic you mentioned, like these spirits. Riki was also popular at the start of the previous season. I think Riki is a very viable hero right now as well with the Diffusal Blade. Like, I don't think you go for Battle Fury at all, considering the changes.
Makes no sense.
I like that change, because before it was kind of stupid, you know.
Yeah, it was super cheesy.
Yeah, it was cheesy. You know, you have this hero that you know, for 10, 15 years he was relying on Agi to deal the damage, and now suddenly you don't have to build a single item that has Agi in it. So yeah, they go with the Centaur. Centaur seems like a really strong offlaner right now. 90-second cooldown on a Stampede. All of his abilities got buffed. Hoof Stomp, a bit of a AoE, so feels really good. His Shard, you know, we talk about the Shard, but you need to get there.
Yeah,
you need to play 20 minutes to get
like
the
a
Shard.
50-minute item.
Still feels good. Like, overall, the Centaur feels nice. Their damage on Boom is pretty, like, static. Hood on a Centaur is a must this game. He's not really afraid of these heroes. A good thing they have is, like, usually want to use Stampede sometimes to run away from the stuff. Coil will prevent that. Cogs will prevent that. So in terms of, like, running away with the Stampede, could not be, like, used to full potential.
Lifesteal looks really good here for Boom, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Counters pretty much every hero they have.
Why Lifestealer over Jug?
Simply because you have like this really good damage against Centaur, but sure, Jug can also work. But you have the Lifestealer bomb with Puck, which I quite like.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Patch. And they go for the Timber Saw, which is pretty good against Centaur, but Phoenix, Void Spirit, Lion are quite good against Timber also.
Also, he got nerfed, you know. He got a buff on a Shard.
Like his armor is so weird now how it works. It's actually quite weak in lane, I feel like.
I didn't do
The reactive
like
armor.
the numbers, but just from reading it, because he, I believe, got one extra starting armor,
Yeah.
and his reactive armor got nerfed
Right.
By
pretty
quite a
hard.
bit. And
Yeah.
like the duration is the biggest problem I have now. It's like 10 seconds over one. It's not that long of a duration, you know. Like after 10 seconds, suddenly we're back to one armor, and then you can get Harris out of lane again.
At least, most likely, he'll be laning against 2 strength heroes with the Phoenix and the Centaur, so Whirling Death still just as good as ever, but a lot of magic damage that he's going to have to deal with regardless. Is Mirana the only answer that you need for the egg? Because I'm sure part of the reason why you were suggesting Lifestealer and I was suggesting Jug is because more egg hitters.
Sure.
But is Mirana all you need, or do you need more than that?
I mean, Mirana is good. It's just you can't really ever rely on a support to really kill that egg because you're still a support, you know. You can get Yuled up easily.
No.
Like, if you really rely on a Mirana to do it, she needs to farm a BKB, which is not really a go-to item for Mirana in this patch at least. It was like 5 patches ago. They literally just went threats BKB every game against this Phoenix.
The supports also?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
They literally were just egg killer. They took the leap attack speed talent and just killed the egg every fight. But yeah, it's not a thing anymore.
Aquila is not a thing anymore.
It is not.
R.I.P.
I actually feel like Lifestealer Jug is super good for both teams.
Yeah, I'm surprised why Execration's banning out all these ranged carries.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Slark is also pretty good for Execration here. Boom. Still think Lifestealer Jug, one of the two, makes the most sense. Goes very well with the lineup they have.
Yeah, you just want to have like one extra thing on top of Mirana to be able to
Bloodseeker,
Yeah, well,
okay.
that's a lot of attack speed.
It
and
is. But there's no magic immunity, which could be a bit risky. Like, you could still get locked down. But it's a much stronger laner than Lifestealer and Jug.
It just all seems kind of built on counter initiation, though. Like, oh, I'm getting stampeded, let me rupture somebody. Oh,
Yeah.
you know, there's a Phoenix Supernova, let's all try to converge on it. But how did they start fights?
Yeah, this lineup is very weak in terms of like having the tower damage. Like Puck isn't really a tower damage dealer, neither is a Bloodseeker, so they need to take a fight before like sieging. I'm talking about like tier 2 towers, tier 3 towers.
Take it for a Jug.
Execration will be the one who's getting the Jug a bit more, like their sustain is really good with like either using a Stampede, with the Sunray, with the Healing Ward.
It's a bit scary, actually, for Boom, I think.
Yeah, yet again, I feel like it's a 7.28 draft coming from them.
Yeah, like the lineup actually makes a lot more sense for Execration. I feel like Boom, there is not really a lot of synergy. I feel like Mirana, Clockwork. Sure, when you're level 6, maybe you can start some kills. But Timber saw Mirana lane.
It allows Mirana to move around because you want to leave some XP, of course, for the Timber Saw. So
Yeah.
you like Arrow is not that good against the Void Spirit. 1 point in the Simulate, you can easily dodge that. So I think, yeah, we will be ready for that kind of rotation. I'm going to go with Execration here. Like, not a big fan of what the Boom Esports have. I think they're playing on the last patch.
I think it was also the same problem they had in the last patch, right? Like the drafting issues.
Oh, yeah, the first like couple of drafts
It
with
was
the
always
Bounty
Boom.
Hunter,
Yeah,
no tower damage kind
no
of a
stuns,
draft.
no nothing.
Exactly, yeah.
And I feel like they kind of fell back into the trap a little bit here. So I'm also going to go Execration. But Boom,
No, you can't say
Very
but.
strong team.
No, yeah, you can't.
But-
but Boom can win.
But
Boom
they
can
can win.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that, Black.
Yeah, so
That's
maybe you should
it's
go
a
Boom.
compelling case. No,
Are you gonna
I'm
go-
going to go Execration,
Ah,
actually.
okay.
I'm also... I don't think that there's any way that they can force objectives on Boom, so give me 3 Execrations, and give me a cast from MLP and John Xfire.
As you wish, Mr. Tsunami. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for the first game of this BO3 between Execration and Boom Esports. And it is, of course, MLP Dota and John Expired. John, a fine evening here for some SEA Dota, but how are you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling great, Mike. A really exciting matchup, kind of repeating what happened in Lower Div. Philippines versus Indonesia. So I'm sure chat is all riled up to see how this goes. Not a great start for Execration because, well, they had connection issues yesterday. Hopefully that's sorted out for today. It looks like the reconnects are far quicker. Let's hope it holds up, but should be a really good matchup.
I can come to Execration's defense here, John. I've been doing some testing, right? I played some SEA games today, in the obviously in the SEA server from Oz. And instead of my stable 100 ping, I was getting 300 ping today. So I'm not sure what's going on with the lines. I found it rather ironic as well, John, because I was saying yesterday that I got really stable connections to SCA. But there you go, I jinxed myself and now I'm getting 300 ping. Still won the game though, just FYI.
Hey, you got to flex at the end there. You know what it is, Mike? It's the spiders. It's either you don't
True.
have enough spiders or you have too many spiders. It's one of the two things. Like your web is either really weak or your web's way too strong. I don't know which one it is, Mike.
Neither do I, John. You just gotta accept it and just let it go, I guess. Because this matchup, Boom Esports probably looking to be the favorites going into this. I mean, obviously with the return of Dream Missile to the team, a very star-studded kind of lineup here from Boom Esports. What do you think Execration's chances are? I mean, they are coming off a 0-2 loss up against TNC yesterday. A bit of a rough matchup. Obviously, there was a lot of internet connection issues. Do you think this is going to be a close matchup, John?
30 seconds.
There's potential. Like the panel pointed out, the draft of Execration looks a bit stronger, looks more in line with, say, how the patch is, although both drafts are kind of similar to the last patch. But I feel like Boom does have a pretty good chance here. We were having a bit of a chat while the draft was going on. The Bloodseeker last pick, canceling out effects of Stampedes. You're always going to have one hero stuck. You've got the Dream Coil and Bloodright combo, which is really potent as well. There's a lot of early fights Boom can play around, and they're not really beholden to any long cooldowns here for those fights as well.
See the banner is being taken. BDZ gonna say hello to XctN. XctN will chase him down a little bit, but doesn't even bother popping the battery assault. Just walk away and leave it at that. We do get to have a cheeky peek at the mid lane. John Yoe is going to be up against Makoto. And we've seen this Void Spirit versus Puck matchup many, many times. I still believe it is probably slightly favoring the Puck, but it can go either way. And we know Makoto in that mid lane. He is very dominant. So I'm very curious to see how Yoe does go up against this Puck.
Yeah, I mean, the tricky part here for the Void Spirit is that, you know, you're not going to be able to necessarily contest the other water rune. Mikado should always have a free ride. He's got the Illusory Orb to gap close. You've got really good rotation potential from Boom's supports. Clockwork plus Mirana are just more threatening than, say, Phoenix and Lion. So you're always going to have to watch for that potential. Black mentioned it a bit, but you're always going to watch your back there as the mid. And once that support is missing, you might always be thinking twice. Like, are they rotating on me? Are they smoked up? So we'll see if Yoa can kind of cope with that pressure that might come out onto mid.
Fair enough. Look up at that top lane. You'll see Dream Missile there, along with XctN as they go in now with an Earth Spike. Bloodlight has been laid out, but it's a lot of damage being thrown out by Nico. And Dream Missile forced to Fairy Fire up as XctN. He'll keep going after Nico and might be able to secure the kill, but BDZ is going to ensure that doesn't happen with the Earth Spike out on the line. And, well, close call for both teams, but both calls end up getting away. I say that, here we go again. Bloodright not going to really land. XctN may have gone a bit too far in. Nico, luckily for XctN, was unable to get the hoof stomp off, and that allowed the Clockwork to just walk his way up.
Yeah, you're pretty happy about this for Boom. Like, you're forcing out a carry out of the Salve. Nico does get it behind his tier 1, so you kind of recover in that lane, but you still do have a lot of potency here for Boom. Like, the moment you get level 2, and it is up now in XctN, you get the cogs on top of Bloodright, and that could just be a straight-up kill with damage you have on hand.
And that bot lane as well, John. Of course, you've got Palos there on the Jug. He'll be along with this Phoenix RR. You do have FBZ. On one of his signatures, you've got the Timbersaw there for FBZ, and the Hyde will be right behind him on the Mirana. We have seen a lot of Timbersaw out from FBZ before throughout multiple tournaments, and he does seem to be very stable on this hero. Just always frontlining for the team, making space, pushing out lanes, and overall just being a real nuisance to deal with.
Yeah, and he's holding that lane really well. The Jug isn't under too much pressure. Palos is still finding his last hits. RR is doing a fine job of trying to zone out Hyde there. And as long as your Jug is finding farm, you don't really care too much about the Timbersaw. At some point, you will have to abandon lane once you get that level 6 spike. And FBZ is already at level 3, so reactive armor is in full gear. The kill potential here, it's kind of there, but without any solid way of locking down with a Phoenix laning partner, the best you can do is just sustain. And for that, Palos is just doing fine. Your Jug should still hit its timings. Curious to see whether or not Palos goes for the Battle Fury build, or if he opts for the Maelstrom. We'll have to see down the line, but of course, if you go for the Battle Fury, you're going to be farming a lot faster than, say, a Bloodseeker, as the Bloodseeker tends to want to fight earlier on. So Execration might look towards gearing their carry towards a longer game, whereas Boom might look to, you know, just playing fast with the Bloodseeker. We already see Dreamusel queuing up his Maelstrom, so we already know what ideas Boom have on hand, and it's just down to seeing how Execration responds to that pacing. Oh, arrow mid.
And mid lane, Hyde, he's got a nice arrow there into the Waning Rift. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. Yoe able to get the Resonant Pulse off, but he needs to be a little bit cautious about that positioning. Can always go back in a couple seconds. Ate the Remnant. It landed. Meanwhile, Water Runes are spawning up. Ara, he managed to get one of the Phoenix. Harasses Hyde out a little bit more. I think if you are Boom Esports, you're okay with that. Just being able to kind of abuse the mid lane a little bit. As well, top lane, there is a bit of action going on there for a second. Dreamusel, he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, it's the one thing with these supports you have on hand for Boom. The moment the Mirana or the Clockwork's off the lane, you always got to be really aware of what's happening around the map. He could get caught out. The arrow came in, doesn't line up for a kill, but it's always the threat that makes it hard for that mid to hold on.
Oh, BDZ very low up in that top lane. XctN wants to secure the kill, but they'll give it over to Dreamusel now. They can go on to Nico, and Nico, he can make a run for it, but it's not going to be very effective. As Dreamusel gets a double kill on the Bloodseeker to get things started, plus the first blood gold. It's going to feel very nice. Even bot lane, Palos could be very cautious here. FBZ, he knows how to really push this hero to its limits. Palos, he'll play on the edge along with the Timber, but well, actually goes for the spin now. FBZ, he'll have another chains up. He's just going to stand his ground as Hyde is moving in. Palos, has he overstayed his welcome? Yeah, he has. That's what I just talked about, John. You've got to be careful with this Timber. The man knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, Boom's off to a fantastic start. Finding that kill is big. The bigger thing was that they stalled out the Ring of Health coming in. FBZ managed to snipe the Courier, so the sustain isn't quite there for the Jug. The moment your Phoenix leaves you, you're a sitting duck. The cooldown on your Blade Fury is just too long to sustain against the openings that a Timbersaw has, so the burst damage is on hand there for FBZ, and Boom are just working this map really well. Dreamusel pretty much has a free lane up top. Nico is just trying to maximize his efficiency with that large camp right now, but you're giving a Bloodseeker free farm, and your Jug isn't getting the same in return. It's not good news for Execration. Even the mid lane there, for you, it's just not smooth.
Oh, they're really fighting over this regen rune right now. Makoto popping the Dream Coil, but RR comes in and swipes it away. Just not wanting to give it over to the Void Spirit as mid lane. Now XctN taking a bit of damage, but he's also going to be just fine. Everyone's surviving in that mid lane, but a real scuffle. Joe, he's going to jump right back in onto Makoto for a second. Doesn't really commit all the way, just wants to kind of scare the puck a little bit, but that'll be it for now. Yoel, I think he's going to maybe just go all the way back to the fountain.
You see the commitment here from Boom. They're much more active in contesting these runes, and I think that's twice over now where Yoa, he's got a bottle, he hasn't been able to refill it. The water rune was contested at one point, we saw RR pick that up, now he just has to walk home, and it's never a good feeling on mid when you've got a bottle that just never gets topped up outside of maybe your bounty runes. So again, Boom just exerting that pressure on the map. They're all over the place, and they've got some really good level spikes. Dreamusel's 2 levels above Nico. Level 6 up on the Bloodseeker. They could really look to play aggressive, although Execration is lining up for top.
Yeah, this is a very smart rotation from Yoe if they can get the initiation off, and they're going to go in with their Hex now, but it's way too close to that tier 1 tower. Even Hyde was TPing in on the Mirana, but does end up cancelling that off, and had they gotten the Bloodseeker kill, it would have been worth a hell of a lot for Execration, but again, just not able to find the initiation. Very unfortunate stuff for Execration thus far.
And this is not very efficient map usage for Yoa. He's still stuck up top. He doesn't have a TP. He TP'd for that movement. So Palos is forced to be down mid. He's forced to just kind of get that farm, which is great, but it opens up the bot lane for a push. FBZ tanking the tower, getting some hits off with Hyde. They're going to be able to trade a tier 1, and Execration's not in a position to take any of their own objectives to clear up that map evenly.
It's definitely a bit of a precarious spot now for Execration, as that bot T1 tower going to go down very easily here with FBZ and Hyde. They could still try to pressure top side of the map, but it's looking rather difficult, but it looks like they might even try. They're going up to XctN, but they can't get the clock either. So XctN's fine, and Execration, as much as they're trying, they're not able to find the opening yet.
It feels like there's a coordination issue here. Yoa is looking for targets, he wants to jump in, but this time around, BDZ was too far away to follow up with the Earth Spike and Hex. So maybe clear up those lines of communications. If they want to go for a target, I mean, Yoa's at level 7. That's the point where the Void Spirit really wants some pickoffs. Even without items, you just want to bully someone down. No openings on hand, no kills for Execration yet, and boom, with a tower up. This is the point where FBZ is just going to go ham on the bot lane, so you've got one less lane to play with here for Execration.
You're always trying to play around in that mid lane, Makoto. He's been very disciplined, just farming up on that puck. Meanwhile, top lane, Nico, he got ruptured. He's not going to die, though. He'll be just fine. Again, you won't really mind missing kills here for Boom. As long as Dreamersaur's freely farming like this, he's more than happy. And you could make the same argument for Palos, but I think Palos is going to take a little bit more time on the jug to really be up and online. Because Dreamersaur has that really nice kind of mid-game timing on the Bloodseeker that he can go back to.
Yeah, it's the one thing with Jug against Bloodseeker. When you go for the battle for your build, it just takes such a long time to cook it up. Dreamersaur without any items is a bit faster in that jungle. He's already got his Javelin up into the Maelstrom. And you're hitting all these spikes in the Bloodseeker that the Jug just can't really match up at this point. Now, there is some space for Palos bot at least. FBZ is just not really fully committing to just be a nuisance down there, but the rest of the map's just kind of controlled up here by Boom.
I think FBZ's just been able to sit there forever, as he wants to. Yoe, he's going to try and run away now. XctN's moving in. Yoe still has no Astral Step charges. They're going to dive him for this. They know. FBZ gets the Chakram out with the Dream Core now. The Stampede was popped, but it's a bit too late. Or maybe not. They still have Yoe alive. Maybe he can survive a little bit longer as they do finally get him down. But Nico, he will try to punish FBZ for this. But there's no way in hell. It's a toll. He's not dying. And they're going for that mid-tier 1 tower now with the siege creep. And this is what you call perfect timing, John. They get the kill on the Void Spirit, and they have a siege creep ready in the mid lane to push down that tier 1 tower. You couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah, I mean, they just have so much to play with on Boom's end. Look at Nico, level 7 in the center. They are TPing in for a counter fight. It's too late.
It is definitely too late. And now the map's open. Suddenly, life for Palos has gotten a lot harder on that jug as he's going to have to find some other places to farm now. Boom can just kind of start getting themselves into this Radiant side jungle and being very annoying here for this carry jug. We'll see what Execration does about this, but they are yet to pick up their first tier 1 tower, and of course that is a pretty big point of concern.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't even found a kill. 0-4, 4K lead for Boom. They do have level 6 up on BDZ. That could be an opportunity, but they don't have Egg yet on their Phoenix. RR still a bit behind on that Phoenix support. Boom now, they've got their own hook shot up, so XctN can look to line up some shots if he wants to. Execration, they need to play around with his finger. Like, if you don't find your first few finger kills, it just feels like the line's not getting the impact you want. So you got to get that spell on cooldown, and you got to find the target to jump here. Softest targets for Boom, probably the Clockwork, maybe the Bloodseeker if you can catch him out alone. But they're just going to line up for a top tier 1 push. Boom, they're playing smart. They're just playing everywhere else. Like, they know where Execration wants to focus. They're getting farm elsewhere. They're much more efficient on the map. And Execration, their push isn't amazing. Like, their push is basically just Centaur standing in front.
Here we go. XctN, he's going to start a team fight here along with Makoto. They'll go right onto Nico, and with the FBZ Timber, it is not going to be hard to get through the HP pool of the Centaur. And Execration, they're going to smoke up. I'm not really sure for what. Maybe go after the Mirana in that mid lane?
Illusion.
It seems like a very desperate kind of smoke. And
Yeah,
it's going to lead
it's,
to nothing. They found nothing with it.
It's the pressure they're feeling to get this finger off. Like, they know they've got to make a move out with Yoa. They know they've got to pop that finger. They need to stop this Bloodseeker, and they do walk the right way.
They do, but Dreamersaur knows about this. He's very good with game sense here, Dreamersaur. He is under vision now, just barely, so they know he's farming, but he seems to be very well aware of what they're up to. And in all fairness, everyone was missing off the map but Palos on the jug, so I suppose maybe it was kind of obvious. As Hookshot top lane now, They have found themselves another Centaur, though Nico is going to pop the Stampede and try and run, but the Dream Coil is there in time. They've locked him down. They'll take him out. Yoe, he's going to TP up to try and fight this with the finger, but Noah gets launched down. Makoto, what reaction timing on the phase shift. Hyde, he's not even going to die either. He'll leap right away on the Mirana, and now Yoe, he's been ruptured up. He really can't move. He will Astral Step away, but FBZ is right in underneath that tier 1 tower, and they'll get another. It's clean, John. 0 to 8, 5k net worth lead for Boom Esports. It is a perfect game so far for Boom.
They haven't lost one hero. Boom is probably going to be yelling at the one guy who dies, even if it's a support. Execration right now, I mean, they've got Egg, they've got some tools to play with, but you're just seeing the counterplay from Boom. Stampede's on, okay, drop the Dream Coil, you're stuck there. Void Spirit jumps in, alright, Rupture's off, you can't run. And they just had all the answers from the draft. Execration, they need to coordinate as a team here. We're not seeing enough items come out, especially on Nico. He's got the Hood of Defiance and the Vanguard. He really needs a blink to set up for his team. Like, someone needs to follow up with Yoa, and Yoa can jump in, but no one else is as mobile as him, so he's kind of stuck like a dead fish out of water. He just needs someone else to come in with him, and the best shot you have is Nico. So some patience for that blink could pay off. They're lining up for the top tier 1 once more, but Boom are just allowed to keep free farming in every single core, and it's going to be a problem. Maelstrom's up on Dreamo Cell. Once the BKB flies in on this Bloodseeker, you just don't have anything to lock him down anymore.
A bauble from the void.
Love the fact that you tried to use the phrase "dead fish out of water," John. Just FYI, fish are generally dead when they're out of water.
I realized that. I said dead, but I'm already going into the fish. It's like, oh no.
It's alright.
Thanks, Captain
Palos
Obvious.
spot lane. Thank you. FBZ bullying along Palos. He can't really farm this bot lane. This is just classic Timbersaw play, right? Like, this is what you want to do. You just want to haunt the other position 1. Just don't let them feel comfortable across the map. Palos, he'll still keep farming, but you can see him really starting to struggle to keep up with the Bloodseeker.
Yeah, it's not a great time. He's got a Battle Fury up, that's all. So he's caught out. He's not going to be very tanky.
Speaking of being caught out, he's kind of caught out right now. Hookshot is there. XctN, he really wants his kill, but Palos is not going down that easy. But the Chakram does fly out. Palos now very, very low. There's your Stampede. Nico, he wants to go in onto FBZ. They might have the damage output, and they do. A great start, but they're going to lose Palos, and they do lose Palos. As well as that, Yoe goes down to the Void Spirit, and now BDZ's gone. Oh, Nico. He's going to try and find his way out along with RR. They'll commit the egg, but that's a real panicky kind of egg to throw out like that. And Nico, he's just holding onto this tier 2 bottom tower, praying that they'll just leave him alone. And it looks like he'll get his wish. He's alone, but he's alive.
Yeah, it's not a great feeling for the Centaur. Like, he doesn't manage to soak most of that damage. The rotation in was great. They find a kill in Timbersaw to that. That's one dead on Boom. I'm sure FBZ is getting some words in his ears now, just about dying in front there, ruining that perfect record. But Boomer's still looking great. 6k lead, 1 to 12, 17 minutes in. Palos just has no space to farm. He's clearing out the Ancients now in the triangle. He really needs more items than just the Battle Fury. The SNY is going to help him stand in front. The stat resist is really nice. But still, the pressure is really more on Yoa and more on Nico. They've got the blink up in the Centaur. They need to start getting some follow-up and getting some kills.
They're going on to XctN. Mikoto, however, already getting rid of RR, and XctN, he's not dead yet. He's still alive. The arrow now connecting right onto Nico, and that'll be your Centaur gone again. Onto BDZ. The Lion just can't sustain the damage output. They're trying their best, but you run uphill like that with no vision onto the side of Boom Esports, it's not going to work. Not when you're 7k behind.
No, and that was beautiful from XctN, getting the stun off mid-hoof stomp to save himself, and then the rest of the team just follows up. Execration, the angles aren't good. They need more vision. They have really aggressive wards. I think they need defensive wards here. Like, they just need to control their map, play around, and punish Boom for diving this deep.
Onto Dreamercell, they've got the big one, the Bloodseeker almost dead. Dreamercell, can they take him out? He's going to run now with the Blood Ride. He's going to be just fine on a slither of HP, and now poor old Nico, he will get shredded by FBZ. Remnants, they will try to hide in the tree line with a nice 8 the Remnant setup. Onto Makoto, they'll get the puck. Great Remnant setup there from Yoe as BDZ now might just die in the line, but at least they got Makoto, and they might even get the clockwork now. And they do. So all things being said and done, that wasn't too bad of a team fight. In fact, I do believe it went the way of Execration.
They got a little bit more. Killing off the puck was really big. Just a bit of an overextension there coming from Mikato. Getting a bit too keen. You have to respect the Hex. You have to respect the line. There is good follow-up after your phase shift as well with a Remnant. So there are some ways here for Execration to punish the deep dives. And they are starting to find them. We're seeing some good itemization coming out. Yoe is saving up for the Ags next. But you have to remember the BKB is already up and running on Dreamo Cell. So you might be able to control out the puck. There's no Yules here for Mikado. No way of purging off the silence. You're not going to lock in the Bloodseeker. You have to be careful going all in on that hero. And even going all in on FBZ. Your viable target's really just punishing Mikado. And I think if Execration keep exploiting the aggression of Mikado, they can start to build back up here if they just keep finding that kill.
Well, they might have their chance now, but the only issue is, John, they've caught out Palos first. He's going to go for a spin away. Rupture is there onto the jug, but they're going to try and protect Palos here. Dream Coil also committed. Stampede. It's not going to be enough. Omni Slash committed, but Makoto, he just phase shifts it off. Yoe, he's also down at FBZ. BDZ, he's also gone. Going to try and run, but FBZ, he's diving tier 3s now. He's not going to go all the way, but he's showing you what he's made of.
Oh man, that was
letting
just
you know.
messy. That was so messy for Execration. Palos had Rupture on, he still kept running around. Like, it's not a big damage when you're not running a long amount, but he kept going back and forth trying to dodge out or juke out some spell tosses that Boom might have wanted to do. It left him very vulnerable, and it's just a combination. Just Rupture to stop them, Dream Coil to stop them with Stampede. It's very hard for Execration to fight into Boom. What Execration need to do is play into their own strengths. Again, play with Nico's Blink, play with how fast Yoe can reach the front lines, get the pickoffs, and you know, if you see the opportunity for an egg for RR, then they've got some tools for AoE as well. They do smoke up, they do not have finger, but they do have egg up here.
FYI, by the way, John, 3-2-2 Dream is alive, and we might just get the chance to get it right now as Execration. They're going to move in with the dust sound. They pop 2 dust, but Boom Esports, they're the ones running in. They don't really care about this. A great hook shot in from XctN right onto Yoe, but the team fight. Makoto in trouble, about to drop. The phase shift is out in time. The egg does explode. Makoto still alive, but should die and does. And we won't quite get the 3-2-2, but we've got a 4-2-2 as Nico now. He's going to be chased down, but he will blink away. And so they got Makoto again. It's still not too bad, but you're losing Yoe in the process, and you're losing BDZ on top. It's not going to feel too amazing.
It's not the best feeling. It's still good. Like, killing off Mikoto last time around gave him good bounce and gold back. It still gives him a little bit more from that last fight despite dropping Yoe. Ideally, the Void Spirit stays alive. We did have the 3-2-2 for just a second, right before Mikoto died, so it was there for maybe about 2 frames or something. So the dream was there, but Execration right now, they need to keep playing like that. Keep punishing Mikoto. He's the big one. Afterwards, you know, it's down to the follow-up. RR, as long as he gets those good egg positions that we saw in the last fight, they can deny a big area that Boom wants to play with. And Execration, they're smoked up once more. They've got Finger back up, they've got Omni if they need it, and Stampede is just about half a minute away.
Oh, here we go again. XctN, he breaks the smoke. Hook shot is going to be off the mark, but Hyde gets in there with the Yule Scepter onto BDZ and locks him down with the arrow into the Starfall. That's BDZ gone. XctN now, he'll hold down Palos. Palos, he's going to go for a spin TP out of there and might just make it, but I can't say the same for Nico. He will try to stand his ground, but he's really just not that tanky as the Centaur, and that net worth lead was 10k just a few seconds ago. Now it's 13k.
They're just getting so much from Boom. Execration keeps trying to play aggressive like this, but again, they just don't have vision. Look at the map. There are 2 wards here from Boom watching the triangle, 1 watching that bot jungle. Nothing from Execration. They're just going in completely blind. And I get that they're pressured when you're 13k behind, when you're 4-25, but they need information to make these plays. And I guess maybe expending a smoke just to drop a ward doesn't sound too bad, but they've been using them all just to force fights. And again, the payoff isn't quite there. Boom now, we haven't seen a move towards a Roshan. Perhaps that's the next objective they want, but they're just so tanky up front that it doesn't feel like you're even pressured to find that second life. Dreamocell, very close to the SNY, so he's going to have status resist on hand. He's going to be hitting harder, and it's going to be harder to burn him down with that additional strength as well. And that just allows him to stand in the front lines and toss his body forward.
Every time Moonlight Shadow's off cooldown, they just keep going for another team fight. Hyde, he's having a look for RR. Oh, what a hook shot in Kescu! Oh, what a hook shot! He'll pop the egg, but there's no point. There is absolutely none. He's gonna die. Yoe is gonna try and find a decent Stampede and Hoofstop. They've got Makoto again. They've got the puck. It's a great start as FPC now. Popping the Omni Slash. He's gonna try and back himself out with the Yule Scepter. Dreamocell trying to find a way into the team fight. They'll go in onto the Centaur instead. Take down Nico first, they say. The Centaur, really, again, just not that tanky. He'll die first. Now Palos will be chased down by Dreamocell, who'll get BDZ onto Yoe now. He'll Astral step away, but FBC is right there waiting, opening his arms for Yoe. Yoe doesn't really want to be here, though. Looks like he has no choice in the matter, as he has no Astral step charges left. And Dreamocell will walk out of there with a triple kill. And I'll tell you what, John, this is why I was so happy when I saw Dreamocell was back with Boom Esports, because you could just see how well they coordinate as a team. It just wasn't the same without him, and now they just look amazing again.
Yeah, this is the Boom that we were missing a bit from Season 1. This is the Boom that, you know, we love to watch in previous tournaments, BTS Pro Series 4 and 5, Season 3. They just play amazingly well as a stack of 5. They've developed so well throughout the past 2 years. Execration, they've got a lot to fight against. Roche just being melted here by Boom. They don't have Egg to run in there. They don't have Stampede just yet. So it's going to be a free objective for Boom. 2 lives up on either Dreamocell or FBC is great. I'd say you might want that more in Mikato, but he still gets the job done even when he gets picked off in these fights. It takes so much commitment from Execration to just kill off a puck. Just the puck. It takes them the finger, and they have to drop everything else on top of that. And even then, with numbers advantage, because you lack some tools after blowing out all on the slippery puck, it just feels like they lack follow-up going forward into the rest of the fight.
Ball lane now. Boom Esports, they see targets and they start moving their way over towards the south of the map, and there's your Moonlight Shadow again, John. They know where they are. Sentry was placed, Hex is out, but they've got the coil on Yoe. That's the big one. RR and BDZ backing right off, but Yoe, he had no way out. He's gonna try and step his way out, but can he make it? Not quite. Dreamocell was waiting. He's just waiting for his free kill, and Dreamocell's now 9-0-7 on this Bloodseeker, as it looks like they might try for the high ground.
There's nothing to stop them. There is an egg. The high ground for Execration is pretty good if they get a good position here for RR to pop that spell, but the tower just melts.
Nico, he's going to jump in. That's a very risky Hoofstop to go for, but he does at least juke out the arrows. Now he goes right back in onto Dreamocell, but FBZ is going to use him up. Palos is going to try and chip away at the armor of FBZ. At least Boom not feeling confident enough to keep going. Do need a bit of a reset. And that'll allow Execration to get a bit more time going for themselves to get their farmer.
And this is really important for Palos. He's very close to his Ags. So 900 gold away. Once you have that, he has more uptime, more damage to play with a Swift Slash. He's not beholden to just the Omni Slash to find these pickoffs. And he could maybe try to bait out the phase shift here from Mikado. So some more options on hand for the Jug once that's up and running. Issue is, Boom are just so far ahead. Everyone else on the side of Boom's just overly farmed. Hyde is even above Yoe. When your Void Spirit's behind the pause for Murana, there are very big issues for your team there in terms of farm.
There's a lot of problems here. All eyes are going to be on Palos to see if he can get the Ags and kind of change the way this game goes, but it doesn't really feel that easy. At least the Ags will give him another way of dealing damage in these team fights, as well, they're about to lose their final outer tower here, Execration. They know they can't do much about it. Their only choice is going to be to defend the high ground. Aegis is still up on Dreamocell, so they're going in. They're going to try for this. Basically, all ultimates are up as well for both teams. Nico, he'll get started with the hoof stomp in and the Aether Remnant to lock down Dreamer Cell. And there's the egg being committed as well. Boom. Do they want to back off? It looks like they do. Can they get everyone out of there? Kesku has been left behind and he's going to die in the clockwork. And that might be enough for Boom to back out of here. Might just be it. Boom. Wait around a bit. See if anyone is going to come out from that high ground. And in fact, Palos, very close call for him. He's going to be very careful about where he farms. Looks like Boom are indeed retreating though.
Scanning.
Scan for Execration here.
Albeit easy. It's going to be alright. Easy, he'll see Palos. I have the easiest way of locking him down, and now Nico, he's right in with the Sunray out from the Phoenix. FBZ just melts. Uh-oh, Boom Esports maybe getting a little bit confident, but there's a 4-man dream call out by Makoto. He already takes down BDZ into RR. They get the Phoenix. Now they go right onto Nico again. They want the Centaur dead, but Dreamersaur has been called out and will lose the Aegis. That'll be one life. But there goes Nico on the Centaur. He's gone as well. Back on the Dreamersaur though. The Astral Step, he's still very healthy. BDZ, he's going to die back on the Lion. Now the hook shot in onto Palos and he's gone. Maybe a bit of an early celebration there from Execration. It's now Boom. I don't know if they feel healthy enough to go high ground, but I guess with no buybacks available and 3 of the heroes on Execration, it's kind of like, why the hell not?
And they don't have an egg to worry about as well, at the least. Once the Phoenix respawns, it is there. Really curious as to why Palos held on to the Omni Slash for so long. Like, if he just Omni'd immediately on the second life, I think they might have had that kill on Dreamersaur, and the fight could have gone very differently. But now, Rack's going to fall. All Racks kind of exposed here. All tier 3s are exposed up, so Boom can look to rotate if they want to force the issue, and the respawns are coming.
Move stomp again from Nico. Again, it's onto Makoto. They want the puck down. They will get him. A decent start to this team fight as now they chase down Nico a little bit. He's going to be just fine. The Aether Remnant locks on a Dreamer Cell. He'll pop his BKB and try to fight this one out. He gets the bash on Nico. Nico will die in the blood right. Still, I suppose getting Makoto is going to be good enough here for Execration. The Boom Esports, they aren't going to try to push any further.
They can just sit back, relax, wait for the puck to respawn. Next Roche, we're going to find out in about 2 minutes 20 when it's up. And Execration, they have some fight left. Palos can hit hard as long as he gets to use the Swift and Omni Slash on top. And the egg is starting to get really good here from RR. And the sustain out from the Sunray is just a bit much to play with when you commit onto the Centaur. So there's some hold from Execration. Boom, though, they're just still really scary. Like, the damage coming out from Mikado is huge. He's got a BKB off, ready to go. I believe he didn't have it for the last fight, or at least didn't have it off cooldown, although.
Hey, Yoe, yeah, he does step in, but not going to lead to much.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that gave them Mikado there is the fact that he didn't have his BKB ready. Like, didn't manage to get the charge offs. The Ag silence here from Yo is doing some good work. He needs his own BKB. He's saving for that next. And once he has that up, that should help them with the control coming through from Boom. The Ags for Mikado to counteract those BKBs is still a way off, about 2,200 gold away, so still a little bit more build-up for Boom to counteract that spell immunity, but it does feel like Mikado should line that up quite nicely. Love the Scotty pickup here as well from Dreamersaur. It just means that the sustain from this Phoenix and the healing ward, it's not going to be enough anymore up against this really strong Bloodseeker.
Yeah, definitely a very smart kind of item choice there by Dreamersaur for sure. Now we see the Moonlight Shadow coming out again. This time around, it looks like they are aware that they are in biz, so Execration are right back onto the high ground. The Boom is still moving south. Nice scan, though. It's going to scout them out. Can Execration do anything with this information, though? I think they are still very reliant on taking these fights near their towers. They haven't really got much of a choice. They've got to just kind of sit back and just take it easy until the side of
wanna change your range.
Welcome back to more DPC SCA Upper Division Season 2. We have just wrapped up game number 1 of Execration versus Boom, where Boom have made a triumphant return, and especially with their carry player, Dreamacell, back in the saddle. Things are looking comfortable. Things are looking... This is the Boom that we've come to love and expect over the past year, maybe not so much the past season, but it's a return to form.
I mean, with this lineup, they've won a couple of tournaments. As the cost said, why did they change? Who knows?
Who knows?
Now they're back.
If they win, we may be able to ask them.
Yeah. Or ask him, more specifically.
The man himself.
Yeah, that
the
would
dreamer
be
of cells.
Gotta get the spice from the correct source, you know.
They got to win it first, though. But I think that odds are looking pretty good, because draft was
Interesting.
interesting. Bloodseeker carry, and it worked out great. So I don't even think, pick 7.27 heroes for all I care. Apparently you're that much better.
Okay, so they open up with Phoenix this time around. No Morana. They still take like a Snapfire, which is the answer to Phoenix. Level 1 egg. Later on, like, you don't deal well with the egg. I think still feel, Morana is a better egg hitter than Snapfire. Snapfire, however, brings you a bit more to the team fight.
Yeah, a little bit of save. Mars Snapfire, pretty old school combo. Resurfacing now, mostly when enemies pick Phoenix. But yeah, it's just overall a pretty strong combo, the Snapfire Mars. Even in lane, they're very good. You can just cookie on top, you get a good spear.
You think this is 4 Snapfire?
It could be 4 or 5. Even mid, we have seen a couple of mid Snapfires. It's a very strong mid air now with the new bottle changes. You have infinite mana for your, what was it called, Scatter Blast.
Yeah.
There's a ton of damage in laning phase as well. You get the fast 6. Wherever you rotate with that fast 6 is pretty much a kill. Like,
it's at least 1 kill.
Yeah, you can't escape.
Okay. I love this. I don't know why teams are not first facing this hero, because this hero, for some reason, got a buff in the previous patch, and his win rate was already insanely high, especially during, I remember watching some of the stats in Chinese upper division. This hero has 72% win rate over more than 20 games being picked.
Just because my boy Old 11, he was crushing it on Pango.
Sure, and they reduced the speed of the Rolling Thunder, but they gave him extra 2 seconds. They also buffed the shield crash.
Well, it's 2 seconds longer now by default.
Yeah, by default. So once you get to the level 15, you have a 13 seconds
Honestly,
Rolling Thunder.
The speed change isn't necessarily just a
Bad.
straight nerf.
No.
Because that means that you may be able to spend more time coming back to get the bounce back into a stun
if you
again.
drive slowly, it's gonna be safer.
Exactly. Pango gets that grandma buff.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have the same combo as before, right? The Blink, Yule, Shard combo. You still got a triple stun.
Roll up didn't get nerfed at all, which was crazy to me. Roll up
No.
is like one of the best shards in the entire game.
For sure.
Yep.
His swashbuckle range got reduced by 50, I believe. Like, it doesn't sound much, but when you play a lot of Pango, sometimes you can, feel the difference.
Yeah, so I was confused about it. So the range got nerfed, but is the spell AoE still the same size? So it's just you can't cast it as far, so you can't escape as far, but it still hits as much.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Well, what did the talent increase then? The duration of the, or the range of the spell, or the range of the...
Talent is plus 300.
The plus 300, yeah. Is it the cast range or the range of the blades?
It's the range of the blades.
Okay. I mean, everybody chooses that anyway, right?
Yeah, the mana region is just mediocre compared to this one. And mana region also got nerfed in the previous patch, so it's a kind of a no-brainer for Pango.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, a classic Mars counter. Just roll out of the arena.
True.
Or into the arena. whatever you want to do.
And they ban out
Assassin.
another potential Mars counter, ban out the Juggernaut. So
Still a possibility for a lifestealer. I think this hero is very viable. Received a lot of buffs. You can actually feel the hero dealing the damage. New armlet is good. Just feels great against all of these heroes. Like, these are 2 strength heroes. Doesn't care too much about the Nyx Assassin as well.
The open wounds shard is actually ridiculously strong. We haven't really seen it yet, but once it's applied to you, it deals so much damage.
It's a good one, but I don't think you can just go for the shard.
No,
Like, you're always
it's
going to
probably more like
prioritize
It's a second
items.
row
Second
kinda
row
shard.
shard, yeah.
Sure.
But when you get it for free, like you just absolutely dominate.
Oh
some
yeah,
heroes.
love me some free items. Whatever I
Yeah.
get for free, I'm like,
course.
sure, I'll take it.
Boom respond with a Lion.
Lion into the Nyx.
Nyx, love that. You know, having a Hex against the Nyx Assassin so he can get his spells off. Gonna be good, a bit of more burst damage. They have Lion plus Phoenix this time around, but they also have a Pangolier. They have this position 3 hero that can go in. Like, comparing him to a Centaur, Pangolier early on is much more like team fighting. He wants to be a bit more active, while Centaur wants to just farm up, get the most from his aura, get the most from the Vanguard, like just jump between the camps, get the most farm, while Pango wants to fight.
Pretty squishy though.
It's also a possibility to be a mid Pangolier, because I remember watching some Division 2 games yesterday in Europe. Barania played it on a mid lane. It's a very viable mid lane
Could also
as
be
well.
a 4
with the-
Pango. On the offlane Phoenix, we have seen FBZ lost his offlane Phoenix. If the matchup is good. They're very flexible right now, you know. Of course, there's
Sure.
a chance for some mid Lion.
And that ain't happening.
Yep, especially not this patch.
It was pretty much, you know, you were not here the last season Tsunami, but every single time we see a lion,
Pretty good meme. Yeah.
it's just a smile on his face.
Is that why? Because I know the first day of the patch, you were like, mid line's no longer viable. And I was just like,
Yeah.
who was talking about it being viable in the first place,
Dude,
Black? Why is this a topic of conversation?
You can't understand my pain.
Okay.
Because he's been spamming it. Like, I played at least 1 or 2 games per day of mid lion with him.
Wow.
He was trying to make that a thing. Didn't happen.
Hey,
That's how much influence you have in Dota.
hey, they banned it in pretty much every game after that.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. They know.
The respect.
I think that was a support lion ban, but whatever.
Whatever. Like, I'll just take credit for it.
I mean, you want to send Lion mid here, you're going to need something to burn off that Flame Guard. Flame Guard got that duration buff, and if you don't have magic damage to take it off with the Ember Spirit, then that buff is pretty significant at level 1.
But if you don't have mana, you can't use it.
True.
Which
So
you
what you're
always
saying,
have now.
Lion mid. I'm on board. You converted me.
It's not going to happen. But at least I converted you.
Who do you want then? I want a magic damage dealer for this this Ember Spirit.
Yeah, it's kind of tough though to pick a magic damage dealer because they have a Nyx already. Like you can still pick it, it feels uncomfortable.
Ah,
Like
'cause the mana
most
burn.
mid players are very sensitive
To
when
the
it comes
mana
to,
being burned.
to Nyx Assassin. Like Carapace, mana burn.
Oh, Vendetta. Like, Nyx Assassin tool is just, you know,
It's just annoying.
annoying to play
Stupid
for
cockroach.
carries.
What about some Mikoto TA? Already countered, but doesn't care about Nyx or SF.
Ooh, SF.
Love myself some SF against Ember. It's a very good lane.
Lena.
Oh, no.
Not
No.
into Nyx, please.
Lena just feels weird. I told myself, if I see Lena, you know, I'm never
Lifestealer,
picking
okay.
that team ever again because
Really?
this hero just completely loses the
Only-
game 1 or 2 games.
Only change she got was Shard cast range, I think, is a
I
little
think,
bit buffed.
yeah, I think she received a bit more buffs on the Dragon Slave or LSA.
W, yeah.
So yeah, I think could be used as a position 4, but as a core, just doesn't strike me as a good hero. So yeah, they go with the Lifestealer, which we mentioned. It makes a lot of sense against the Snapfire Mars. Like, they have nothing he can rage off, pretty much everything. They have a lot of stuns, you know, so they get the first jump. There is no save other than Sunray. Could be a bit problematic, but still feels like a really good Lifestealer game to start with.
Yeah, now they only need to answer this Ember Spirit in mid lane.
To ban out the Invoker. So, I mean, but even Invoker, again, another hero with high int gain, would have hated the mana burn. This Nyx Assassin rules out a lot of counters.
I mean, it doesn't
for-
rule it out, it just makes it annoying to play. Like, you need to get an early BKB, like, pretty much no matter what you play. But you can still play. Like, if you get a really good lane, you know, a hero that really owns Ember Spirit, you can still play it, just itemize differently.
Mhm.
But yeah, like, as I said, mid laners are very sensitive. They're like, eh.
Stop it.
I would still like to see an SF. Covers quite a lot of bases too. Like
I think-
potentially makes up for the Slark pick, which I think is pretty good for Execration.
I'd prefer maybe a bit more like tower damage. I think something like a Dragonite works
Sure.
well.
DK
I
can
wouldn't,
work,
I
yeah.
wouldn't mind seeing a Dragonite. Like they damage is pretty static. They have no abilities that go through magic immunity. So something that builds like BKB possibly as like a second item from the mid lane also gonna work out well. Maybe if you call him Davion, they pick Davion.
Summon him.
Mid tiny, let's go. Dazzle.
Okay.
All right. That owns Ember Spirit.
Yeah, forget the
Pure
Flame
physical.
Guard. Just go all physical damage.
Yeah.
Good thinking. I just completely forgot about that hero because he was not viable during the major, was not viable during the season. But we see a bit more of a Dazzle, being picked. We saw one yesterday with Hand of Midas Octarine core type of a build.
The
Guardian
heals on
Greaves.
the grave is really nice.
Yeah, level 15 talent's real nice.
But he lost.
He did lose. No Execration.
Carry.
Need to find a one
Juggernaut
position.
again or what?
Drow Ranger.
Drow Ranger. All right. They don't really have a good hero to get on top until Pango gets a Blink Dagger.
Like Pango with a Blink, Lifestealer jumping in. Still
Could be
looks
pretty
like
scary.
a good... Yeah, Drow Ranger looks good here. Something Lifestealer doesn't like to play is Silence and also like Slow. So I'm still favoring Boom.
But we're
I
going
told
Boom, yeah.
myself
We're
before
going Boom.
coming here, I'm going Boom. We're going Boom.
Lesson learned. You guys tried to dupe me last time. Give me 3 booms. But if you took away the team titles, if you just saw hero to heroes,
I quite like the Execration draft. Like this Drow Ranger, when
Aha.
she gets items, it's going to be pretty much unkillable this game because even if you jump on her, like she gets a BKB, they can't kill her. They can't
Like
touch her.
BKB Pike, she
Yeah.
feels really good. They have like no abilities that go through magic immunity either.
Yeah.
So
The lane should be going quite a bit better as well.
and
they need to
hypothermia-
manipulate like top lane because Pango plus a Phoenix, like they could struggle a bit. Like you get Swashbuckle misused, especially at the early levels when it's high cooldown. You're in trouble, especially against the Drow Ranger.
You get Frost Arrow.
I think this game is going to be a bit more, competitive than the last one was.
Well, that's what we thought last game. But
Fingers crossed. If nothing else, at least I'm happy to see some Drow Ranger because keep hearing all about these ranged carries.
she's good.
They're not showing up, but they're showing up here. Let's see what happens in game number 2 with MLP and John X Fire.
Yes, thank you very much, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are officially into Game 2 between Execration and Boom Esports, and it is indeed MLP Dodo and John Expired. John, the drafts are completely different. You and I were having a bit of discussion, and, Execration's draft does look a lot better this time around. How are you feeling about it? Do you think Boom's going to have a bit more of a challenge like the panel was saying, or do you disagree? Where are you going with this?
I'd agree. It's a better draft for Execration, but I think Boom still has a lot of ways of playing this. FBZ on the Pango is another special of his. And we just saw the effect of his Timbersaw. Pango is kind of the same deal for FBZ. Just needs to hit certain timings, and they already catch out Palos.
Uh-oh.
Well, Panos has been caught out on the Drow Ranger, and he's going to try and run for it, but with the Poison Touch slow, it's not looking great for him. One more hit will do it and hide. He doesn't want to take the kill. He'll let Makoto take it with the Poison Touch damage, and now
it's still
RR is
going.
also going to die to FBZ. That is a perfect start, if I've ever seen one, and props to Hyde for understanding how that did, because he literally just left the hero to run away and let the first blood go the way of his mid-dazzle.
It's just beautiful. Mikado off with 2 kills already. And you're going to be very pleased with just having all that added gold. Mikado is already ferrying out his null, and that makes the lane a lot harder to hold. You do still manage to run a here on the side of Execration. It's an even 2-for-2 trade. You're not going to be hurting too much, but Ito is going to have a bit of a ride here on mid. He does get ferried out 8 sentries, try to regain control of his runes, and just watch the movements out from Boom, because you've got this issue once more. You've got a Lion and a Phoenix that can rotate. Now, it still doesn't sound as great as last time with the Mirana clock, but it's still really potent, and there is so much more potential for Boom to be aggressive. Like, for the side of Execration, you've got a Snap who can rotate, and a Nyx. It's still great, but it takes a little bit more effort to line up those shots. And Yoe!
Mikoto, he's going right in. He'll get the first, not first blood, but the first kill in the mid lane. Mikoto just straight soloing the Ember at level 1. Yoe not going to have the greatest start apparently on this Ember, and that's not going to feel very good for him.
No, and we've seen Dazzle mid matchups against melee heroes a couple of times now, or at least once. And the Dazzle can really just bully you out. That was still level 1. Now you've got wave up, you can force back Yoe through that flame guard faster. And Yoe is really going to have to watch his spacing. Even his sentry is not getting value here as he's not able to de-ward, so it's just so hard to hold. Mikoto now at level 3, he's going to have fantastic time down mid.
Certainly. You see Yoe, he tries to come back, but as soon as he gets close, Mikoto is just going to give him the poison touch, just start harassing him out, and it's going to be a very hard time for Yoe. We'll see if they bring some help in to try and give him a bit of a helping hand. But in the other lanes, though, of course, top lane, you do see BDZ falling quite low on the Snapfire. He'll be there with Nico on the Mars, and of course, Dream Missile and XctN are going to be against him in that top lane. Now, I don't know how to feel about this lifestealer, because personally to me, John, it feels like a bit of a weak hero. Am I wrong in saying this? Do you believe? Well, actually, hold that thought, because top lane, they are, rather bot lane, they are going onto the Drow Palos. Is going to die. FBZ and Hyde setting up another kill for themselves, and every lane so far just seems to be going the way of Boom Esports again.
Yeah, they're just bullying out the slower start for Execration. Their heroes on Execration's end need the XP. Like, the Drow just can't save herself stuck at level 1. You're going to need level 2, even level 3 is where it starts to feel better. You don't necessarily want to invest in Gust very early on with the next partner, so there's so much more leeway here for Boom to throw their bodies forward and keep getting control up. Going back to the Lifestealer, I honestly think it's pretty nice. Like, again, you've got that change to Feast for doing health damage again. And it just punishes all these high HP heroes. We saw a game where Lifestealer, yeah, it was off to a really slow start, but there was still some fight in it. I think if you manage to get ahead and farm, it can actually be really potent. And it takes away so much from Execration. Like, their combinations, none of it really pierces spell multi. So as long as Dream Missile's quick enough in the fingers, he can really just control these fights.
Well, here we go again. Hyde trying to chase down RR. Did manage to take the boundary rune away from the Nyx Assassin. Be able to lock him down too long, but get some nice damage out. Look back to that mid lane for a second, John. I mean, it's just... It's such a difference between the two, right? Like, you've got a 19-8 Mikoto in terms of CS. Yoe is sitting at 10-0 on the Ember. And in terms of levels, Mikoto is going to out-level him by 1. It just hurts a lot, right? When you've got an Ember Spirit as well, who kind of relies on getting a quick Maelstrom up, this isn't going to feel very good.
No, it's really not. And at the least, the Dazzle has a point in the mid-game where he kind of feels weak, maybe around the 15-minute mark to 20 until he gets that short. It's a pretty exposed time for the Dazzle, so that's something the Ember can look to play around once he gets some catch-up form. Execration, it's almost the same story as Game 1. 0-4, 2k lead for Boom. No kills on the board yet for Execration, and with such an aggressive patch, you don't want to be sitting at 0 kills. You want to make something happen in these lanes. The supports just can't leave these side lanes. They're just kind of struggling finding that security on their side lanes as well. Palos needs RR around because his farm's not going amazingly well. 15-5. You're just getting a lot more out from Boom, and that does hurt the cause. Like, maybe once they get some levels up, maybe you get level 6 up on Nico or on Yoe, you can start to make some work on the map. Until then, you're just giving Boom so much lead. Look at Mikoto again. Level 6, Yoe is still at 4.
Oh boy. He's trying, but Makoto's just going to annoy him underneath the T1 tower now. Poison touch out. Yoe did not manage to avoid that with the Sleight of Fist. He might just be dead. There's TPs coming in from BDZ, but Mikoto gets the kill. Is he going to stay alive, though? The Dazzle gets quickly stunned up, and BDZ does at least get a trade going. But Makoto's still going to be very happy with that. He understands with the Ember, just shutting him down like this is going to make Yoe's life very hard throughout this game, and it's obviously going to put a lot more pressure on someone like Nico on the Mars, who's going to really have to set the tempo for the team.
I mean, the moment you leave that Mars alone, you saw a bit of movement out from Boom to apply the aggression auto bot.
Well, they are trying to go in onto the Drow Ranger. For now, Palos going to be alright, but FBZ is going to chase him down. Swashbuckle in 1 second, but he won't have the chance to use it. Instead, he will just make use of it to get out of that scenario. But you can also see down this bot lane the fact that Palos has not been able to free farm whatsoever. Sitting at 19 and 8, it's not amazing at all. In fact, Dream Missile's almost doubling him up in terms of CS right now as they try to go in onto the Nyx Assassin. Earth Spike is going to land. RR still trying to run, but now XctN has shown up on the Phoenix. And that'll be another one. Hyde, he'll take it on the Lion. And John, that's another thing we talked about during the drafting phase, is the importance of Hyde being able to get a quick Blink Dagger. But just based off the way he's playing this game, it looks like it's not going to take too long.
I definitely won't. You're hitting all the spikes here for Boom. The aggression is shaping up well. They've basically left DreamWhistle alone up top, and there's no punishment. Like, Nico has his Snapfire around, BDZ's around in the area to try and help out. You just can't really pressure a Lifestealer. Like, he can just rage up, run away, and your combination falls flat. So Boom, they're starting to do a bit of a shove-in bot. They've got the siege creep up. FBZ can't necessarily commit. It's not the same as a Timbersaw, but you're still getting some good chip damage done. And it forces Yoa to actually show up bot. He's got the haste to walk back mid if he wants to, but this is a bit of a risky spot for our Ember.
Yoa might be in trouble. He is just hit level 6 now, but he's going to get stunned up anyway. FBZ lands it. He'll remnant the other way, but they were waiting. Or maybe not. He does not get the Earth Spike off Yoa. He does take the kill and back off. In fact, never mind backing off. He's right in onto the Phoenix. XctN. He's going to try and run. He has already committed the Icarus dive, and that should mean Yoa can find himself a secondary kill here, and does. A nice double kill now for the Ember. Might help him catch up in this game.
Helps the cause out for Yoa. He just hit 6 right there, so really good use of that leveled spike for him. You are giving a lot of space out to Mikado down mid, but this is a lane Palos can hold a lot better. He's a ranged hero. He's not under pressure from the Shadow Wave. It's harder to land that Poison Touch on the Drow, so Mikado might not be able to bully out Palos as much. He still has a massive level advantage, though, so you will have to watch that. And Execration now with kills on the board. You're starting to get some space out. Nico has his level 6 as well. So you've got the arena ready. You've got the kisses ready on BDZ. Execration should look to play with these level spikes. Play with the arena and the kisses and start to force some kills out.
They want the big one. They want the dazzle, and they might just get it. With the Mortimer's kisses to fly in, they'll have plenty of damage, and FBZ, he does get the Nyx Assassin, but it is nowhere near worth it. And that's what you want to see from Execration, punishing the fact that Makoto doesn't have anything to save him like the Shallow Grave. In fact, now FBZ, he's going to be in danger as the spear comes in from the side. And they get another. In Execration, they're right into the mid lane now.
And they can still push towers really well. And we've got BDZ. Doesn't have the little shredder, but Palos does have the marksmanship up. A lot of damage flying through to the tower. Just finding that space. And Boom can't allow this to fall, but it just melts too fast.
And it does, as Yoa, he wants to keep going further.
Radiant's top
Be able to
tower
keep up
is
with the
under
Phoenix.
attack.
XctN will Icarus dive out, but with that mid-tier 1 gone now, Execration already having a much better time than last game. Open up the map a little bit. They might need to go back and farm a bit though. I mean, they are still quite behind in terms of gold, but apart from that, things are going decently.
They've managed to secure control in their triangle, so they've got some good stacks to clear out here for Palos. Still saving up for his Dragonlance, and that item did get slightly buffed, so should feel better on the Drow now. This is the moment where Boom might have to be a bit cautious. You know, Mikado went for the Midas on the Dazzles we tend to see. This is the moment where your Dazzle's not doing as much to bully out these heroes. You need to wait for those item timings, wait for at least your level 2 bad juju feels a little bit better, but you know, you need some regen on hand. Maybe the Guardian Greaves comes in first. The key thing is that they've freed up so much space for DreamWhistle. He takes down the bot tower, he's free farming, he's not being run down by enemy heroes, so the armlet timing for DreamWhistle should be pretty damn nice, and could be tricky locking him in. Again, with the armlet and with Rage on top, it doesn't feel like they have enough physical damage outside of Palos to deal with that Lifestealer yet.
Gonna try with the Sleight of Fist out. DreamWhistle, it's just fine to back out. Of course, DreamWhistle not too interested in fighting without that armlet up. I'd be more than happy to just farm that up in top lane. Boom Esports. They've grouped up. They're going to defend that tier 1 top tower, but Execration have made their way up as well, as Nico is going to go in with the arena and the spear right in onto XctN. They'll get the Phoenix. Now Boom, they want to try and turn right back around onto BDZ. They'll get one. FBZ The Rolling Thunder does connect onto Palos. Dreamersaur is making his way in, but BDZ, he'll buy it back immediately, and they want to try and turn now. Back on to FBZ, the spear does land from Nico. Can they close the gap? They definitely can, but they will lose their Mars in the process. All things said and done, not too bad, but I think the buyback there from BDZ is going to make it a bit more worthwhile now for Boom Esports.
And they're going to be happy about forcing that out from Snap. Slows down the Snapfire's potential build-up into the Ags, as we've seen. Support Snapfire is still enjoying that item. Core Snap's basically non-existent for the most part, so you're slowing down the pace for these item timings on the supports from Execration. Boom, they get a kill here for Dreamocell. So again, he's fairly happy. He's got the armlet up now on the Life Sealer. I love the target prioritization there from FBZ. He just kind of ran down Palos. It's just that there was no follow-up. So they got the target prioritization right. They do have some levels up on Execration. With RR, with a Vendetta, they could look to make some plays.
Makoto again being caught out with the Mortimer's Kisses. He has the Shallow Grave this time, and he's going to try and TP out, and it looks like he's going to make it. It's Dreamersaur now moves into this team fight. He wants to go after RR first. Binga is there from Hyde. There will be no TPing for this next assassin. The idea was correct, right? You just keep picking on Makoto, because he's a pretty vulnerable target, but at least with level 1 Shallow Grave, he can survive.
And that's not good news. They commit the kisses out there as well. They didn't have enough damage on hand just from Yoe and from RR, so they don't really get what they want there. They drop the Nyx, and they can try to pressure the side lanes. Palos has space up top to shove into tier 1. The bot tier 2 was being pressured by Boom just a bit, so they're not completely losing out here. And Boom, even after expending that finger, they are smoked up top.
That they are. But they aren't going to find anyone. Execration have successfully backed out at the right time. There's no harm in Execration just continuing this farm up. Still a long way to go in terms of net worth.
Flames will spread
As well as that, on the side of Boom Esports, like I think you are still looking for that Blink Dagger on Hyde, which it's going to be coming pretty soon, it looks like. This bot lane, RR, scouting out for his team. Gonna see FBZ and Dreamersaur. A lot of smoke here from Execration. They're moving in now with the Earth. Rather, able to start, but the spear. Oh, he missed the spear. Oh, there's not much about that one, John. That's a pretty big mistake, as FBZ's now gonna roll in. RR, he's been caught out of the Nyx Assassin. He's gonna try and somehow survive this, but they have the control and they will take him out. Oh, and that is a very unfortunate arena spear out from Nico. I guess he wasn't really expecting the impel, perhaps, but maybe just got a bit too excited.
Yeah, that's a huge loss for Execration. That was Nico's blink reveal as well in the Mars. And if they caught out Dreamocell, it would have been very worthwhile, but now Dream should be able to adjust that blink timing. You should be aware that the blink arena is the go-to initiation, if not the Vendetta. And Execration's going to have to work even harder to catch some heroes out here. 7-12, 3K lead for Boom, so it is looking better for Execration this game. If you are getting some good space out on Palos, he does have his Dragon Lance up. The Drow is fairly safe from her attack range. She's got some good strength to pad out, and they do jump in, but Nico misses again.
Well, he's still got FBZ, thanks to Yoe. Does Remnant in, and they do get the kill. Definitely a great kill there for Execration. Still mid lane. It's not another team fight, but Hyde, already out with the finger, does kind of give it back to himself. Despite Carapace there, Hyde now just trying to run. Sunray is there from Kesku. Not doing too much, and Boom, I think they're in a bit of an awkward pickle position here now. As, well, they've got to find their way out, and it looks like they will. And they're trying to make these early team fights work. I think it might be a little bit awkward with the mid dazzle right now. So you don't really have that much going on with Makoto at the moment, so it might be a little bit challenging to really get a good team fight going.
Yeah, it's that moment where the dazzle's just kind of weak. Like, you do have a lower cooldown mech on hand. It doesn't really get crazy until you get the Guardian Greaves and the level 3 bad Juju. Until then, you know, it's nice, but you need to wait. A bit more patience here from Boom. They can play as 4 in that case. I mean, you're ready to go here on Dreamwhistle. He's just walking forward every time. He's got the Sanj up. Just that little bit more stat resist and a little bit more amp on his lifesteal makes him very hard to pierce down. You have nothing to stop all that regen on hand with lifesteal here. No natural ways of stopping that heal.
The spike is going to be a nice setup there from our Lion. We have the mech up now, Makoto, so bit of heal coming out as FBZ is going to jump in. Yoe has been hexed up by Hyde. They won't have enough lockdown there. Yoe can turn right back around now onto Boom. Dreamer Cell. Looks like he's going to be the one that gets targeted. It's going to be just fine. Boom. Well, they got what they came for. They'll get back to the farming game now.
Yep, just slowly build up. They still have the 3k lead up. I mean, Paulus has a lot of space. Issue is Drow doesn't feel like it flash farms as fast. Like, he had a free lane top, and it's just not amounting to much. Dreamocell still ahead by a significant amount, 1.4k ahead on both Dreamocell and Mikato.
No. Bot lane, they missed the spear again.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. FBZ, he's going to roll his way out. And I know we may have not have seen that on the screen for a second, but yeah, there is a lot of pressure, but it feels like these spears need to land. Otherwise, Boom, they're going to have their way in this game. The time is ticking. Mikoto is going to be a real problem later on this core Dazzle.
Yeah, it's just ticking away. The Guardian Greaves just the recipe away, and that's 400 gold off for Mikato. And once you hit that point, it's going to be really hard to kill off any of these heroes. Execration, none of them building up for, say, a casual Spirit Vessel here just to slow down the regen themselves. The Scotty might come out for Palos down the line on the Drow, feasible enough, but he has to go for the BKB first, maybe go for the SNY completion first for his own stat resist and strength padding, and that just takes a lot of farm. Boom. Well, they're smoked up. They know they can be aggressive right now. They've got the blink and hide.
Oh, they found the big one. They found Palos on the Drow. They even commit the egg, just in case. You wouldn't expect Palos to be alone like that, I suppose. Boom just making sure they cross all the boxes, and that they do. Onto the tier 1 top tower they go, and Dreamer Cell will just calmly take care of it by himself. No help necessary.
I love this item build up from Dreamer Cell. Immediate Heaven's Halberd up after the armlet. So now, even if that Drow somehow stays alive, you've got this arm to prevent any sorts of damage coming out. The BKB might help the cause here for Palos on the line, and they do surround Dreamer Cell.
Alright, well this time around they do get the initiation, and that's what you want to see. They get the big one. Dreamer Cell goes down. Yoa will take the kill, and worth a lot of XP and gold there to kill off that life stealer. Dreamer Cell maybe just waiting around a bit too long. Let's get punished.
Yeah, that's just a bit greedy from Dreamer Cell standing in front, farming that wave after, although they are surrounding here.
Here we go. Mid lane, Hex is out onto Yoe with the follow-up stun, and now the Rolling Boulder, or rather Rolling Thunder, but they don't have enough damage. Yoe, he's going to turn around and just get the slap to Kensu. They heal up with the Guardian Greaves. Palos is coming in now, a nice Earth Spike, but they've caught Mikoto. The Dazzle does die. Execration, they could keep going for more.
Radiant's middle tower is
They might even find it. FBZ? No, he's going to be all right. Hyde. Spike not going to be on target. Yoe cancelling the TP at the last second, and now FBZ gets punished for coming back in. Hyde is going to try and run, but they're going to chase him down. And this is much, much better from Execration now.
Amateur.
It feels like they've finally warmed up here in this game too.
Yeah, they're getting the punishment off on Boom. Boom just kind of trickling in one by one. A lot of their damage really is on Dreamocell for the most part, and on Hyde's finger. If you have those spells down, it's not like the Dazzle has a lot of damage going in. Like, sure, you can spam out the Poison Touch. It's great. The Bad Juju builds up minus armor, but no one really hits hard. You could maybe argue FBZ can, but he's not quite itemized for that point yet. So Execration are, again, punishing this downtime on Boom's item spikes, and that's the key. They need to keep playing fast while they're strong, especially once Palos has this BKB up. They need to maximize that spell immunity on the Drow. Just stand forward. Puzzle while level 18's not yet up, because once Mikado has level 18, you're talking about 100% uptime basically on the shallow grave, and that is not something you want to fight into, especially if Mikado positions himself nicely. As long as he's far enough away from the silence, there's nothing to threaten the Dazzle and just keeping anyone alive throughout the entire fight.
Tell me, John, do you predict that we'll see a Spell Prism out from Makoto later on?
Sure, if the game goes long enough, maybe a Quickening Charm in the interim. And just to have that up, that would be very nice and very balanced for a Dazzle. We've seen that before. I think this,
balance, by the way, John. Palos ended up getting a Grove Bow on the Drow, which is fairly standard. Every game we cast with a Drow in it, there's a Grove Bow every single time.
Radiant's bottom tower.
And well, in they go onto that bot tier 2 tower as Execration. They're going to start a Roshan instead. I like this decision from Execration.
Yeah, they can clear the Roche really fast. They've got good physical damage on hand. They already have the Solar Crest up here in RR for the debuff, but they immediately pull back. They saw the TPs coming in on the outpost. They don't want to tempt fate here.
FBZ, he does pop the Rolling Thunder a bit preemptively. And that might be the opening Execration needs. Without that big ulti now from FBZ, they might be able to take a pretty big team fight. Dream Assault, it's on the front lines. Looks like they aren't going to try and force it. On top of that now, they even have a BKB coming out on Palos. So it really feels like a great time to force a Roshan fight if you're Execration. They might just try now. BDZ moving in, they see Dreamers. Oh, they've got to land some kind of stun. Won't, they'll let him get out of there. The teams will leave the Roshan pit for now.
And just a bit of a poke war there. There is a smoke out here from Execration. It's only on the supports though. And it's a bit risky for them to jump in. But POA can follow up if they want to.
Well, there's an Infest now on Hyde. He could blink in at any moment.
Oh.
Roshan's being started again. Hyde looking for a target. Is going to go straight into the back lines. It looks like they found the snap by BDZ, but they've lost Hyde in the process. And BDZ is actually going to manage to run out of there as Makoto now. Or rather, the Phoenix was in trouble. Arena dropped by Nico to hold them down, but he needs some follow-up. Here comes Palos, though, with the Drow to just get the arrows in. Dream Assault ties, Makoto ties. It looks like FBZ has also been caught. He will try to swash away, but the X-Stun, the Impale was there from RR. And now they can definitely get this free Roshan for themselves.
That's a massive win for Execration. Game swings their way now. 16-13, 2K lead up for Execration. Boom, their target prioritization is just not quite lining up well enough. The damage output of our Lifestealer is just not amazing. Like, yeah, you've got the Halberd, you've got the Armlet. When you're not hitting a Strength here, it just doesn't feel great, and Palos just making really good use of that BKB. It's just a massive spike for the Drow to take these fights. Now you've got the Aegis as well, really easy push onto the tier 2. Boom, respawns are short enough that they could contest this. They are kind of moving in for defense, so not going to fall just yet. Boom needs some patience. They need more farm on Dreamosol. They need more levels up on Mikato, and I think Mikado's going to need something defensive. Like, the Guardian Greaves is nice, but he kind of pops it preemptively. He can't save it for silences on himself, and he really needs to purge that silence off. Once he's controlled up, your Dazzle just can't do anything. Like, maybe once you have the Force Staff, you can just spam that around, but for now, the utility of the Dazzle is just waiting for that level 18 spike. No shards yet on Mikado as well. He does have the Force Staff flying in, but you really need that AoE Hex now if you want to get that initial control in these fights and start finding that key pick off in the backline. Palos cannot be allowed to just stand there and get his right clicks off.
I believe Makoto ended up going for a 4-star first, which is that defensive item you talked about, and looks like he's actually going for an Aether Lens up next on the Dazzle, so not even opting for the shards yet.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, Execration, with an Aegis up, definitely want to go for a team fight. Gonna smoke up. Back into the mid lane, they'll see Dreamer Cell. This is very dangerous for the Lifestealer. And, the spear's off the mark. But the rage was quite fast, so it may not have mattered. Dreamer Cell almost expecting that to happen. Does now back off towards the south of the map, pushing the bot tier 2 tower. Definitely looks like a bit of nerves kicking in here.
Radiant's bottom tower has
These
fallen.
spears, are, again, they're going to be very important this game.
Yeah, I mean, you do manage to at least get some space out here for the side of Execration. They just keep shoving that top lane. Tier 2's already gone, so they've got control of the top jungle. They can look to clean up the mid tier 2 if they wanted to. They've got all the
Easy.
heroes on hand. Oh,
And they lock him down, they get the arena down, and they just burst down the Pangolier immediately. Makoto now, he TP'd him, but by himself, they're going to try and rush him. They won't.
Dyer's middle tower
Get the
has
tier 2
fallen.
mid tower, and without FBZ up, they want to go high ground for a bit.
oh. It's, when you lack your Pango, you lack your team fight. You need that rolling thunder to take control. They're gonna,
Dyer's middle
they
tower
rotate
is
down.
under attack.
Yeah, Hyde gets taken out. They're trying to slow down Palos on this Drow Ranger, but Nico, he's in. He gets a nice spear off into the tier 3. The Shallow Grave is going to save the day from Makoto. There's not really much saving that tier 3 tower, however, as Palos is just not giving up on it. Does end up finishing it off. And boom, I mean, they're still kind of just looking for an answer here with their draft. It never feels like Dreamer is able to really close the gap on the Lifestealer, and of course for Makoto, he's on a Dazzle, right? He's not going to be that gap closing hero you need. It seems like they are going to be relying more so on FBZ and Hyde, but it just hasn't been panning out quite yet.
The coordination's been falling a bit flat for Boom. Execration working much better together as a team. They've got a lot of BKBs on hand now as well. You've got the fresh BKB on Yoe. You've got the fresh BKB here. Well, not fresh. One charge down on Nico. So all of their cores can stand and fight in the middle. And that just takes away your line, takes away the impact of your Phoenix as well. And it makes it very hard for Boom to find that initial control. They are almost reaching the point where Dazzle hits level 18. So again, you're going to hit that massive spike in terms of spamming your spells out, spamming out the Guardian Greave, spamming out the Shallow Grave. But we're still not seeing that build up into the Shard. Mikado is just ignoring it completely, opting for the Solar Crest instead.
Lane's still going to be in danger. That rage is about to wear off, but he's trying to get himself up to the high ground. Gust is out. They found one. It's going to be Hyde going down onto Makoto. They'd love to get themselves a Dazzle as Yoe continues moving forward with a DD and now Nico. A great arena spear round will catch the Dazzle. FBZ, he tried to help on the Pango, but there's not much he can do. And Boom Esports, they are falling apart in this game number 2.
Execration just playing around that spell immunity really nicely. They know that they have to be aggressive now. Boom cannot be allowed to get any sort of catch-up form. The racks are exposed. They're going to be able to push in. There's no Aegis on Palos, so he's a bit more vulnerable, but it's not like Boom has a great way of reaching back. They just haven't been able to investigation of FPZ in this game at all.
Certainly not. Execration showing their teeth in this game too as the spear does come out again onto the Phoenix, and Nico very happy with himself about that one. Dreamer Soul going to TP in, but they aren't going to try to initiate. They are still lacking 2 heroes. At least they do force back Execration now, and Execration, I'm sure they're more than happy to just keep the farm game going.
Dyer's bottom tower is under attack.
They've got a massive lead now. 9k at 29 minutes in, a lot to play with. They get the Desolator up and running on Nico, so the armor reduction is going to be ridiculous for their Drow. Palace is just going to hit that much harder here. Boom, they've got some shining moments. They've got the Quickening Charm on hand, but Mikado's not carrying it. So it looks like they're not prioritizing the ultra-low cooldowns on the Dazzle just yet. I think you've got to do it. Like, you've just got to play with max level Juju with a Quickening Charm and just ensure that you can keep spamming those spells out. Ensure that you can keep getting off Shallow Grave, getting off the Guardian Greaves off. Boom, they're playing in the right spot for the map. They've got their wards down bot. They're safe here. They've got information here. But Execration's doing the same thing. They're just playing top. They've got a lot of wards watching that top jungle. And it's just really hard for Boom to get any sort of pick off, get any sort of kill that can drag them back up, because Execration just knows where to be.
Execration, they're going to try again. Boom Esports, they're heading down to that bot side of the map. FBZ, Rolling Thunder, they got the heads off onto Nico with the egg committal. They will commit everything. But while they're doing that, the top lane is being forced in by Execration, and Boom will have to immediately respond to it. They want a team fight. Well, that is a really nice rage out from Dreamercell. He'll chase down the Drow Ranger now, but Palos is actually fairly tanky. He'll turn right back around. The stuns were there with the Impale, the Shallow Grave belt from Makoto, but is it enough? Dreamercell is still just falling slowly but surely, and they will get rid of him. Now Makoto, he gets chained up. The Waterman's Kisses do fly in with the Gust down. And that's it, GG's called. They want no more of this game number 2 as Execration really show up, and they will force to game number 3.
Yeah, it looked good for Boom early on. It looked like they had the answers there. They were playing aggressive really nicely. They were getting some very good farm out in Dreamercell. Their team fights initially looked really smooth, but it just kind of falls flat. They take a couple of bad fights. Forcing the Roche just looked really awkward, and it just fell apart from there. Execration with a Drow against a Lifestealer without that Abyssal Blink anymore. There's so much mobility you lack, and that's the rise of the ranged cores here. Palos showing off that Drow.
Absolutely, and with that, John, of course, we'll go back to the panel to see how they're going to defend themselves after this game number 2 prediction.
You guys, I would really appreciate if you took this seriously, all right? I'm new here, all right? I'm following your lead. You guys are the analysts.
I stopped being a sheep, man.
I'm just trying to learn the lay of the land here, and you're just debating me every single time.
We're a bit slow adapting to the new patch, that's why.
The new meta is a bit fast-paced.
Yeah, we can see the full power of a range carry heroes. Drow Ranger against the Lifestealer.
Ranger, yeah.
She even has it in the name. Yeah, Drow Ranger. Like Lifestealer, we're not impressed by this Dazzle core. Yeah, he dumpstered the lane. He forces Ember Spirit out of the lane. He gets a solo kill. Ember Spirit's still gonna recover in the jungle. The extended duration on the Flame Guard also helps him out. Like Dazzle key builds. No items to fight. I can understand that you're building into super late game, mid game with this Hand of Midas, getting a Guardian Greaves, lower the cooldown.
It's also just not a very Makoto hero.
No,
Makoto's a playmaker.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about it at the start of the series, where he is the one you can rely on to win you the game. With the Dazzle, you can do so little. Wow, you use the Grave and the a heal. That's really not a Makoto style of playing Dota. I think this fight kind of turns around the whole thing, where Lifestealer goes in, he just does not have enough damage. Drow Ranger with a BKB, no BKB piercing abilities other than the Supernova, but Drow Ranger doesn't really care too much about that. Not a big fan of the Lifestealer item build this time around, Armlet into Heaven's Halberd. Sounds good on paper. You have Evasion, you have Disarm against the Drow Ranger. Would still prefer a bit more damage. I think Desolator's second item is kind of a must here, where your mid laner, he doesn't really scale. All he does is lowers the armor. Same goes for Pangolier. You're pretty much the only damage dealer in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised every time I see a Dazzle, Get up to a 10k gold lead pretty much every game. Falls off no tomorrow. Is it a team problem? Is it just a hero problem? I don't know quite yet.
What could he do? You win the lane, you get gold.
No, it's not his fault, but the team itself, they just made so many misplays, So I don't know if I wanna say
blame it
it's
on
not
Dazzle?
a great mid lane. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's that. I mean, it's definitely not a Mikoto hero. That's for sure.
But the question is, was Cordazzle only good when Necrobook was an item?
That's
not
another
necessarily.
question.
I think this build is still viable. I just need to see a bit more out of it.
Why do people not just do offlane Dazzle and mid Pango? Isn't it way better? You scale way better on.
But then you can't bully Ember Spirit out of the lane for 3 minutes.
That's true.
That is
I don't know.
Indeed a big sacrifice.
Get the Deso on the Dazzle. Turn him into the right clicker. Forget the utility business.
You
No,
could do that with the old chart, not the new one though.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
you need to have a scaling position 4 that still, does something instead of having Phoenix. Don't get me wrong, Phoenix scales, but you need some kind of damage coming out from your position 4, where your Dazzle becomes kind of a more utility with lower cooldowns, with his ulti, with the possible Octarine core later
That
on.
was your issue in the last time we saw mid Dazzle. Was
Yeah,
there was a
I still have
Skywrath-
that issue.
Skywrath position
I'm a man of my words. I say something, I stick with it.
All right. Well, I'll say that I'm going to stick with BDZ being our MVP for this game number 2. Snapfire was not getting the cleanest initiations from his Mars and Nyx Assassin every single time, so felt a little bit skeptical about committing to the kisses, but eventually Mars got his confidence back toward the latter half of the game, and then Snapfire was able to keep the Drow alive with cookies and get quick pickoffs within the Vendetta Impale Spear combo.
Yeah, I think the positioning coming from him in this game was really good. Like, he was where he was needed to be to use the cookies. Just, you know, playing with the Mars, a bit tricky because Mars, as you said, missed a couple of the spears there, so you don't trust him later on. And if he misses 2 times spear, you're not going to precast ulti. You're going to wait until it lands. Sometimes that, you know, it happens in Dota, in the professional games. But yeah, his performance was pretty solid, you know, for a position 5.
It was a quality performance, top level quality, much like Secret Lab chairs. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, game number 3 to wrap up this series.
Change of range.
Welcome back to the world's worst predicting panel. My name is Tsunami. I'm your host, joined by the Brain Trust, Black and Lacoste. I'm just gonna, we're not all gonna go for the same thing, no matter what. I don't care.
All right, have fun.
GLHF.
We got each other covered. There you go.
Covered, yeah. That's what you've been doing for the past 2 games, is covering each other.
We're very loyal.
Ride or die.
D&D.
Yeah, D&D, and we're not talking about Dungeons and Dragons, about Dominic and Dominic. We do
Ah,
have the same name.
I got you.
Similar personality, unfortunately,
Yeah.
for me.
Let's get
What do you mean for you? Like you're supposed to be older, more mature. Like
Yeah,
you should
sure.
be like this.
Yeah, I've been your role model.
Yeah.
We actually played on a team. Like, I think it was something
Long time
time ago.
Really?
Yeah, it actually says in your Wikipedia page that you played with me.
Yeah. Does it say it in your too?
No, because the only players on my Wikipedia page are the good players.
The TI players. You have plenty of.
I'm a TI
I
player.
know,
He is-
We've got the 6 degrees of separation or whatever.
You guys are, we're live on air, so nothing's gonna happen just yet.
No, okay.
But after
Afterwards.
the post-show panel,
I see.
some people might be in trouble. More than others, we'll see.
You worry about getting your prediction right first, Black. Then we'll worry about
No problem.
violence.
Now that you make me mad, I'll predict everything right.
Great. Predict to me what ban changes are going to be. Is this Drow going to be respect ban now? Is it that good?
I don't really think it was a drafting issue. They just really crumbled in the mid-game team fights. Like the initiations of them, they never managed to kill anyone because they were lacking damage. Like they had 1 damage there, which was the lifestealer. He didn't itemize into damage. That's like the biggest problem they've had, I think.
Supernovas were also questionable. They were using them to like secure solo pickoffs a lot of the times. Like they hopped on a Drow, they
Yeah.
supernova, and they were like, oh, there was no team fight.
Supernova finger, like they use so much to just get a kill on a draw ranger. Then like it's that they're relying so much on the cooldowns, and then like you have Rolling Thunder, you have Supernova, you have Finger. You need to have those abilities to be able to win a team fight. And if
Okay.
you don't have them, you can't take a team fight. It's simple as that.
And if you can't take a team fight,
Can't
play
win the
Dota.
game. Okay. At least Pango was good. I liked Pango.
Pango's good. Pango is a top tier pick for all you folks out there who want to gain some easy MMR.
Pick Beastmaster.
I know it's not the
Yeah,
easiest
first pick
hero to
Beastmaster.
play. Pick Beastmaster, pick Grimstroke, and also pick Pangolier. Pangolier actually got a buff. I thought this hero was going to get nerfed to the ground after seeing what he could do at the major.
But instead, he's rolling on the ground even longer.
No. And slower, but it's not necessarily just a nerf. We got a second draft. Beastmaster, Puck, first phase banned by Execration. Death Prophet, Nyx Assassin, actually getting a ban out in the first phase as well. And they will first
Okay,
pick
I love
Tusk.
this. I love me some Tusk. This hero has been amazing throughout the major first season as well. Like, even though when I checked some of the stats, like for the Chinese region, because I remember the percentages, like this hero had 20% win rate in the upper division of first Chinese season, which was like, wow, why is that? Because the hero seemed pretty strong, but the teams were losing with it, and I think at the major we saw the full potential of the hero.
Yeah, I mean, China, they're very smart. Like they lose with Tusk, so it doesn't get nerfed too much. It's one of the favorite heroes.
And then they start first picking it at the
and
major.
then they start first picking at the major, so
When
it
it
gets
really
nerfed
matters.
anyway. What can you do?
Do you care if it's 4 or 3 position Lacoste, or you think this hero is strong no matter where they put it?
Most likely 4. In certain situation, could be played as a position 3. So one position 3 yesterday.
Yeah.
I think it was it Lilgun playing it?
No, I think it was
Oh, that was TNC.
TNC.
But they didn't build an Aghanim Scepter, and that's
No.
why we were
But I
mad.
saw one in South
it was
America.
Sam H's team. Which one was that?
Was it? I thought...
I think it was Sam H, right?
it was-
I believe it was Sam H. Also, I've seen one in South America also, but he went for the Ags. Blink Ags,
So I guess
which
it
I
was
really
Omega.
liked. Yeah, even though I believe they lost the game, but never mind. So yeah, Grimstroke plus an Ember Spirit, the Ink Swall target. Like whenever you have a Grimstroke, you don't necessarily need to have single target abilities that can, use with the ultis. They're just the benefits. Leash mechanic is so good, the cast range got increased, but you want to have like 1 or 2 targets that can go in with the Ink Swall. So pretty much Ember Spirit is the perfect target.
Storm first 2.
It's fine.
All
It's
right.
Makoto.
Sure, but you're playing against a pretty good silence
And a leash.
and a leash
And a root.
stun.
And a stun. Maybe not such a great Storm game. At least they banned out the Nyx Assassin in the first place.
They have a snowball save potentially. Problem is like leash
Can you
mechanic.
snowball
root,
leash
no,
heroes?
no, you can't. Like if you're leashed, you can't. If you're rooted, you also can't use the snowball. So like this saving potential from Tusk is gonna be a bit hard. You're also playing into silence from the Grimstroke. Could
Can
be
you
a bit
snowball
tricky.
targets that are leashed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you just have to roll in like from outside and then...
Well, you have to hope that Storm's leashed to somebody else, and then you can come in.
Or you hope that Storm doesn't get leashed and can just roll out.
But then you're probably not snowball saving anyone. Then.
Yeah. Which is still
It's
probably
good.
a preferred
It's probably
scenario.
the best case scenario, actually. Ban out the Templar Assassin, ban out the Mars, and Execration ban out the Alchemist, which is actually something that I thought that they might pick, because I saw Alchemist and Grimstroke be used to great effect, I think, in Europe yesterday.
Yeah, it's just Alchemist is a little bit risky against Storm. Like he gets the very strong timing against you with a fast Orchid.
Hmm.
And vice versa, it's pretty good against Ember Spirit. Because like, you just out-tempo him. But yeah, Mars band, TA band. Just kind of want to ban out some team fights here. Grimstroke Mars, also one of the better combinations in the game. I would like to see a Doom, maybe.
Doom with the Grimstroke.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
The
like,
new Doom is actually quite good. Like you farm very fast.
Yeah, I think you got extra 40 gold, one that's maxed out.
40 or
Maybe even more.
50, 60, something like that. But it's a lot of gold.
He also got armor increased by 3, so he's a pretty
Close to
tanky boy.
4, yeah.
Lost the regeneration on Devour, so not as tanky in the lane, but some extra armor will definitely help out.
It's actually a lot of regen he lost, right? Like 16 on max level or something. Quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it was like 4, 8, 12, 16.
Now you're kind of reliant on finding the setter, but once you find that with the bonus armor, you're virtually unkillable in lane. Gotta make sure you block that big camp. Timber saw ban again. Okay, makes sense. The ban Timber, going to the Centaur. Centaur Grimstock, if it's a 4 Grim, very strong lane. You get that Inkswell on top of the Centaur. Followed by
I
Hoofstorm.
kind of feel Grimstroke needs to be played as, not necessarily needs to, but I prefer him being played as a 4.
Brings out his potential, right?
Yeah, like you actually feel how strong the hero is, where like you can possibly like buy a tome, you get some more farm priority, you get some extra levels, and then like, because your toolkit is one of the best toolkits in the game. You have silence, you have a stun, you have leash mechanic, you have wave clear, scaling damage. It's just like so good.
Yeah, even a slow, like what doesn't he do? He doesn't hit buildings. Other than that.
Yeah.
He's anti-carry as well with the Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah.
Boom could go back for their Life Stealer. Another bomb potential infesting into the Storm Spirit. One of the few heroes that may be able to deal with the Stomp into Inkswell combination.
Okay, they're just gonna cover.
Crystal Maiden, okay.
Storm Spirit with some extra mana regeneration. Crystal Maiden is an insane hero, you know.
Yeah,
in
I
the
think it's
laning
very
stage,
underrated.
underrated for sure. Like can be played as 5, can be played as position 4. Like once, if you're playing 4 CM, you get that blink BKB, potentially a shard. Like the good
Yeah,
thing
wait,
about
is the shard a meme? Or is it?
no,
it's
no,
good.
no, it's
It's good.
legit because you
Okay.
can move. Like you can use your ulti, you attack, you can use your spells, and then you can also blink. Like you blink, your ulti follows.
The thing is, you can't cancel it, though.
You can. You just press the button again and it's cancelled.
I thought it goes on cooldown, and it just says... they
Nope.
must have patched it, because on the
Yeah.
first day I tried it.
I got super debated. I blinked into a team fight.
Yeah.
BKB'd ult. I must have clicked it again. My ult ended immediately.
And you had the shard.
Oh, you did it
Yeah.
for science.
No, because I didn't know. Like they never said it
Now
in
you
any
should have
patch
said
note.
yes to not look stupid. I'll
No,
set
no,
you
no
up.
science. Like, when you mess up, you gotta say it. But yeah, like once you get a BKB shard, you actually just like if they have no cancel, they can't kill you.
Okay.
Plus 20 armor, you're too tanky.
They have no
Deals a
nothing.
ton of damage.
There aren't too many BKB piercing abilities in the game anymore. Like Abyssal Blade, yeah, it's still a strong item, but it's much harder to execute. Beastmaster most of the time is going to be banned
Tiny.
out.
So the carry tiny.
So
I hope
it's
so.
like Grimstroke has pretty much the dream game when he uses the Inkswall on any of these 3 heroes who just love to go in.
Ursa Warrior, okay. Not the greatest Ursa game, I think. They got a silence.
Laning against a melee centaur, probably.
But Centaur, with that ult, can also disengage when he enrages. It's pretty good.
It's good, but
I mean, the lane is not going to be easy. If it's
No.
Centaur Grim, like this Ursa is going to feel the pressure. There's a lot of damage coming out. Like a CM won't be able to help you that much.
Could
well,
send
let's
it
see
mid
what they
versus
decide
Ember.
to ban out. They think it's Grim 5, 4 Tiny.
I
If
really hope it's not 4 tiny.
I just hope it's not a 4 Tiny.
I hope it's a 1 tiny. But even then, I'm not like, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't know how good that is.
Because if you compare like Grimstroke Centaur lane to Tiny Centaur lane, like
Okay,
there's
right.
a huge difference what they do.
Yeah. Like one lane actually beats Ursa, the other one gives him free farm. Let's see. We have seen a couple of SA teams unwilling to adjust the tiny.
Yeah, and Boom's still mulling it over. They don't know, do I ban 4 positions or do I ban carries right now?
Yeah, it's a tough call because this carry tiny, there is a lot of damage potential once you get your items up. And this Aghanim's crit really still deals a lot of damage. Can't really contest an Ursa in terms of how well you scale,
But you can toss him out potentially out of
Yeah.
the team fights. You don't necessarily need to just go on him. You can focus the different targets. You have the silence. You have the root. A lot of stuns. Like Execration lineup looks really good. I would say. Like if it's not 4 Tiny. If it's 4 Tiny,
Yeah, it
I'm
looks
just gonna
really
go
bad.
with Boom.
Either way, you're going to go with Boom, right?
Probably.
Yeah. That's what you said last game.
I did.
And then you said you stick with what you're saying.
We'll let the lineups come out now. Boom, suspecting that it's 4 tiny. They're going to ban out a Phantom Lancer.
All right.
Execration ban out a Viper.
And avoid. Fair.
What's the Viper ban about?
just to potentially ruin the safe lane, so they probably want to pick a melee carry hero.
I feel like it kind of indicates a tiny safe lane maybe, because Viper destroys tiny.
Viper destroys pretty much any melee hero.
Sure. But I still have some range options. Like another Drow Ranger here, I wouldn't mind if they want to put that the tiny on 4. But I don't want to see the tiny on 4, so.
Now Boom need to find their off laner.
Yeah. They do lack some like guy that goes in first to give the Storm a little bit of an easier time. It's gonna be the Bristleback, okay.
You want some of
You
this,
want
son?
some of this?
You want it? Yeah, I think this is a good pick. They needed, as you mentioned, someone that goes in and tanks a bit of more damage so that Ursa and Storm Spirit can have a better time.
A little bit of a dilemma though. Like Tiny doesn't really want to lane against Bristol, and I really feel like Drow Ranger is like an absolute god pick right now. Like it destroys Bristol with the shard. But then you have Tiny 4. What do they do?
I still think that they should go with the Tiny Core just because I've seen Tiny 4 just be so useless in so many games.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying that this is like a super good draw game.
Is there any 5 that can make the Bristleback less irritating in a lane like this?
It's tough, because you can pick like an AA, but it gets crushed by Storm.
Oh, yeah.
It's not an easy pick here. I have to...
Maybe like something like Slark, potentially. Okay.
PA. So it is a 4 Tiny, and they didn't pick what I thought was best anyway.
Oh.
It's going to be weird.
Does have... Fan of Knives got buffed, though.
So it's a break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a break. 4-second break, I think.
Right.
It
And
deals 16% max health initially.
the damage got buffed, I think.
It's not terrible, it's just the lanes are really weak. This 4 Tiny, Ursa's going to free farm, and now Bristol, I think, is also going to free farm. Is it a 5 Grim? It is a 5 Grim.
5 Grim plus Phantom Assassin.
PA Grim, okay.
Bristleback should have a decent time.
Yeah, like you just get a stick.
Stick,
and
yeah.
then
So
you're gonna win.
you're more than fine.
All right, I'm going boom.
Gotta go with Boom. I like that they have, save Mikoto on his signature Storm Spirit. Like that he's been carrying throughout the first season so hard on this hero. When
No, whoa, whoa,
Wait,
whoa,
wait,
whoa,
wait.
whoa, no.
No.
I did not agree to this. I did not agree to 3 booms.
He said, I'm not gonna go with those two now. So
I'm
you
not
have
going
to,
with those two.
you have to go Execration.
Even though I do feel like Boom probably have the better
You
game.
can
It
pull
doesn't
off
matter.
Lizard, you know, this team is good, blah, blah, blah,
Yes, thank you.
But this
you know,
but-
I'm still gonna go with Boom.
I mean, Grimstroke Phantom Assassin's a classic lane.
Okay.
Grimstroke Ricky took over briefly, but I think
Whoa.
Phantom Assassin, Fan of Knives got buffed is a potential. And I just don't want to be wrong with you guys. I want to be prediction king. You know, we've only
He
been
wants
doing
to
this
be
for
wrong
2
alone.
months.
managed to predict zero
I'm
so
okay.
far.
I'm okay with that. At least I committed to something
But we have
for
not
once
seen it
in my
before, right?
life.
Yeah, we have not seen it before. 0 prediction rate. Enjoy.
Are you serious? In an entire season?
Yeah.
Yeah, never happened.
Well then, I'm ready to break some records as we find out who will win this first series and only series of the day between Execration and Boom, game number 3 with MLP and John X Fire.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are into game number 3 between Execration and Boom Esports. And, well, John, we've got 2 new drafts ahead of us. I'm going to ask you straight off the bat, John, the hard question. Who came out with the better draft in your opinion?
I'm gonna have to stick with Execration this time around. Like, sure, they've got the Sport Tiny on hand, but you've got Palos on the PA. We've seen a lot of Palos PA. It's one of his better heroes. Boom, I mean, they've got a comfort hero for Mikado. They've got the Storm up and running. They've got this Bristleback that can maybe take off. I just have a hard time with the Ursa. Like, the Abyssal nerf hits Ursa really hard. Now he does have the Ag Shard to play with within range every time you toss out the Earth Shock. But it feels like PA is one of those heroes that isn't really heavily affected by Abyssal nerfs, right? You still toss out daggers, you can still get a
30
stun off the
seconds to
dagger,
battle.
and you're much more mobile on the PA, and you also have that natural break as mentioned if you go for the Ag's Shard with a Fan of Knives, and we have seen a few players kind of opt for that beforehand. So there's some ways of dealing with the durability on Boom, and I think Execration, after seeing them kind of wake up in game number 2, I think they've got the power in them to overwhelm there. Like, even the mid matchup, it's not going to be clear cut here for Mikado, right? It's against it's all down to Yoa to show us some of his mechanical skills and getting a bit more in that initial lane phase.
Fair enough. Bounty runes are taken 2 for 2 trade between both teams. Very even start. The Execration are going to start off with a tri-lane on the top side, which does make enough sense. You've got the Grimstroke, you've got the Tiny, and you've got Nico on the Centaur. Assuming they can just land 1 stun, or maybe even just toss in an Inksword Centaur, it may actually be enough to kill off Dream Missile here at level 1.
It's that old school combo, and BDC is already lining up Dream Missile. Oh,
Inkswell's there, but he's going to block the way for Nico. Still, they'll toss him back. Dream Missile taking a fair bit of damages. Well, we do have a pause coming out at some very awkward timing. Again, I can kind of back up Execration here, John. I was having a lot of issues with ping connecting to SEA today, so I don't doubt them when they say they're having ping issues.
yeah, sure. Blame Ping, Mike. Blame Ping. It's not the Ping's fault, Mike.
I still won the game, John. I still won that game.
Right. Looking like a good start for Execration. It's a classic combo. Tiny Airlines and remote cell. Left or right, buddy?
Dream Assault. Which way, John? Should he go left or right?
I think he's going down, Mike. That's the only way he's going around. He went for level 1 Fury swipes as well, so he really has no way of running out of here. Kescute already blew his slow. He's going down. That's it. You have no choice there, Dream Whistle. To the range creep, though. It's what
Boom
XCD
Esports.
says.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Just run towards the range creep. You never know what could happen. Well, every player has connected here from Execration. We'll just wait to see if the ping issues have been sorted out. And this is what happens, John, when the panel split up with their predictions. Just, there's going to be no game 3. They've cursed everyone. Cursed absolutely everyone.
Yeah, well, the go-ahead's there. Dream Assault.
Dream
He goes
Assault.
right.
He's gone. He's going to make it, perhaps. He's fine. Fairy Fire out on Dream Assault. He gets himself out of there.
My warnings.
He's going to be very pleased about that. Did have to pop some regen there. Still has 5 tankers to play with. And for Execration, the thing is, do they want to maintain this tri lane? Yeah, you've got the tiny airlines, you've got a lot of stunts on hand. You're splitting out EXP, which the Grimstroke and Tiny don't really want to give away. So you need to make that lane for R is going really far forward here.
Oh, nice Inkslot to Execute. Not going to be enough to kill him off, but a little bit of a cheeky play there from RR. Have a look at the other lanes though. Of course, mid lane, you do see Yoe up against Makoto on the Storm. Of course, the panel was talking about it. Makoto, it's one of his specials, playing that Storm Spirit. Of course, we did just see Yoe on the Ember though, performing really well after a pretty bad laning stage. So I can't really give the favor to either one. It feels like it's going to be quite a close matchup.
And you're not going to be bullying out Yoa this time around in the Storm. It's just not the same effect in Dreamo Cell now. Again, being jumped a bit.
He's going to be fine.
You are too
They just don't seem to have the damage output to completely finish off the Ursa. Luckily though, at least for Execration, they don't have any salves available for Dreamo Sellers. He's going to be stuck on very low HP, but we'll have a look at the bot lane. Got Hyde and FBZ there up against Palos and of course RR. Hyde, just going to run away from Palos. Could be a bit of a...
Ooh.
Never mind, top lane. First blood does eventually occur. They go after Execute and get the Crystal Maiden kill. Dreamo Cell very low, does block the way with the tree. Who was that? Was that BDC or was that Nico?
Yeah, I think that might have been Nico coming out there. And that's a really good move. They finally hit level 2. That's what they were lacking in that lane. Execration shafted her early XP gain. Now they've got the levels up. They've got a really massive wave for Nico to soak through. You're going to get the damage going with that combination. You don't necessarily need the Grim at this point. So good 2 early kills coming out for Execration. Although down mid, you can see Mikado trying to play tag with Yoe.
Yoe is very, very low on HP. You can try and one more right click would do it. Yoe has another sleight of fist, but isn't going to need to use it. He'll be able to TP on the high ground. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Palos does end up dying at FBZ. The Quill Spray, of course, going to be very careful about that if you are the PA. Even the Nasal Goo can be very effective in slowing you down and getting your armor even lower. So finding a very valuable kill there at the bot lane.
And this is one thing for the Bristleback. These rune changes benefits the Bristle with a bottle really nicely. Much earlier bounty runes to top up with. You're taking it away from mid, sure, but Mikado's still got the power runes to get for himself, and that just means more uptime for the Bristleback to keep tossing his belts out. And a Bristleback with full mana is a very happy Bristle with a lot of damage on hand.
That he is. Kodo. Lane gonna have his water rune taken away from him by BDZ, and Nico meanwhile ties to a neutral creep. Yoe mid lane gonna drop quite low and does end up dying. Makoto able to get the kill thanks to the setup there from Hyde. He didn't quite get the top water rune, but he has the bottom one to go to.
Yeah, and that's really good for Mikado. He's now pulling a bit ahead over Yoe. He's starting to get that bullying off. Once you hit level 6 in the Storm, you can go for a kill opportunity, especially if your Tusk rotates. So Boomer starting to open up some aggression on hand. Your lanes are going really nicely. They're slowing down the PA, although RR.
Yeah, RR, he's dropping quite low. Nice snowball to juke out the Ink Sweller. Now they can just easily get this Grimstroke kill. And they do. FBZ, he'll take it again on the Bristle. And it looks like we are going to have to go through another pause here for Execration.
Just, I mean, they kind of had the same issues yesterday. It's holding out a bit better. Let's hope it sorts itself out here. But Boom are starting to find their own aggression coming through, especially with FBZ. He's off to a good start, 20-0, top of the last hit board. And Palos is just kind of slowing down here. Now, you could argue the same thing's happening to Dreamo Cell. He's stuck at 17-2 up top on the Ursa. Execute can only do so much against the Centaur to stop the aggression coming in. And you're going to have to maybe try to get some space out for both of these cores down the line. But I think a Bristleback having this much initial kills is a lot more impactful. So expect FBZ to be much more potent in the mid-game compared to Nico. Nico, he's still getting a lot from the lane, but it's not quite there. And we tend to see some of these Centaurs actually go for Hood of Defiance along with a Vanguard. So the blink is sort of delayed, and it just delays your initiation impact there for the Centaur with that kind of item build.
Bottom lane, Palos has been struggling just a little bit here up against FBZ. With a slow build-up again for him. I like the Pango. I feel like the Bristleback is a much more aggressive kind of offlane to have, especially throughout the laning stage. And they're actually going to rotate BDZ down now to try and go after this Bristleback. FBZ, he turns his back around. It's still a lot of damage flying out with the Avalanche toss, and it might just be enough. Very nice rotation there from BDZ and the Tiny. Make sure they got that kill, but mid lane, it has left Yoe very vulnerable. Yoe, who is still level 5, is going to die once again. Makoto now sitting at level 7 on the Storm. As even top lane, Dreamer's Soul. He ends up killing off Nico.
And these are all really big kills for Boom. They're a lot happier with that. Sure, you lost your Bristle. You're giving Mikado such a good lane mid. He snipes the Bounty Rune as well. So you lose that objective there for Execration. And now your Storm's level 7. For reference, Yo is still level 5 on Ember. Really slow start for him. He can play catch-up. We've seen him do that while behind on the Ember Spirit in game number 2. But he just doesn't have impact as of yet. And that does mean that there's not much rotation potential for him. Even at level 6, sure, you've got the Spirits up. We tend to see Embers really look for the level 7 spike once you've got more damage on hand. And to really lock in those kills. And until that point, the pressure's down to the supports to keep finding these kills.
Lane again, they're going to try and go into FBZ, but now the TPs are coming. They're going to try and punish this Boom Esports, going back in onto Palos with Makoto zipping right in onto that PA. And that'll be Palos gone. FBZ going for more, will try for BDZ. It won't be too hard to get him either. BZ happily takes that kill for himself. They learned from their the first time around with those TP rotations to make sure FBZ doesn't go down. And of course, with the Bristleback, it is going to take you a little bit longer to kill him off. So they had plenty of time to make the rotations in.
The one blessing there for Execration is that Yoa does get some space down mid, shoving in the tower a bit, but they are wrapping around him. Maybe could force a kill out here.
Now, Makoto's going to be very challenging to kill, though. It's at level 8 already. Meanwhile, towards the south, another team fight has broken out with RR and Hyde. BDZ going to show up with a toss in onto RR, but XctN now going to get the Frostbite off. Inkswell not going to land, and here comes FBZ right back in onto the Grimstroke. That'll be RR gone. Another kill out for Boom Esports. And it's starting to look very scary as, well, Boom, I think they've been warmed up a little bit here in game number 3.
I mean, 8-3, 1k lead up for Boom. With all these movements out, you're getting so much space for Dreamosol. The Centaur versus Ursa matchup, it's something the Ursa can hold on to now. You've got level 3 Fury swipes. If Nico comes into trade, you can just swipe him down. Nico's still waiting for his Vanguard until he's protected, and before that point, it's just way too risky for him to contest the Ursa directly. He is trying to just get some pulse off, get some steady farm that way. Paulus as well does have a slightly free lane. It is the farm into Battle Free for both of our cores, and in that sense, you're getting a lot more from the Ursa. Dreamosalt's already got the Perseverance up. He can maintain his lane, whereas Palos always has to play a bit safe here.
Boom Esports, they have to be a little bit careful on the spot side of the map. Execration have started moving in. They found Makoto. Oh, that's a big target. They got the Storm Spirit Makoto.
Radiant's bottom tower is
They
under
tried to
attack.
kill off Palos. It didn't work out, and they just snuck around the area. But Execration, knowing exactly where they were, get a very successful gank going. And, well, that's one thing you never really want to see is your mid-storm dying like that.
Yeah, it really compensates for that slower start on Yoe. They get to move in to defend the bot tier 1 just a bit more as well. Love the wards here from Execration. They understand what Boom wants to do from the Dara side. They keep trying to invade that jungle. They've got really good wards here on Execrations and to punish that movement out. There's some vision here as well from Boom, but not enough sentries to cancel out the advantage that Execration does have controlling that bot jungle. So, gonna have to be a bit cautious with the deeper dives. Execration, they're not lagging too far behind here. Again, it's only a 1k lead for Boom. Palos right now is still saving up for the Battle Fury, but is only 2 parts away. You are only 1 part away for Dreamosel, so you're still looking good in the core-to-core matchups in terms of farm, but you really need more here.
Nico, big caught out on the Centaur. He's going to try and hoof stomp, but there's no way out. The Dreamer Soul will take himself another kill and will get himself a little bit further towards that Battle Fury. Execration
Dire's middle tower
Might be another one of those games where you just kind of bide your time and
Radiant's bottom
allow
tower
Palos
is under
to
attack.
just keep getting that farm up on the PA. So they are maybe going to decide to defend this bottom tier 1 tower, but it's a bit too late.
Yeah.
It's already gone.
Execration not quite set up to force a tier 1 of themselves, and not really lined up for the top, not really lined up for mid quite nicely. They can try to force towers out though. Like they've got the Centaur. There's an early Hood of Defiance here on Nico. He's rushing the Blink next, so he's bypassing the Vanguard, which is fair. Like, you don't necessarily need it in this match. You might want it down the line. They do catch out Dream Assault, but there's no follow-up. Like Nico finds these opportunities. They're not quite ready to jump in on Execrations, and they're just still busy farming up and protecting Palos.
3k net worth lead for Boom, though, is going to be quite scary here for Execration. They want to start focusing down that top tier 1 tower and open up the map a little bit for Palos. Dreamasaur has been fairly conservative with his positioning, just farming that top lane as now they jump in the backside onto RR. Nico, he's in this awkward position where he needs to find a way out of this. He'll stampede, but the frostbite is going to be there, and it looks like there's going to be no helping out, or maybe they will. The avalanche toss is out. It's bought enough time to get him out of there, but now Yoe's the one in trouble. XctN will channel the freezing fields and does get the Ember kill. Who said position 5s can't kill off mid-Embers, John? They can do it too.
Yeah, I mean, XctN was just allowed to channel there. He was hanging on to, what, 100 HP maybe less? Just get so much value from really good positioning there from XctN. Good punishment out. They managed to get the punishment. Execration, it looked like they had a window. They are a bit too slow in the response, and Boom just get to run away. They've got a Battle Fury up now on Dreamosel, so the farm for the Ursa can start racking up. You are fairly close to it here for Palos as well, though.
Now they've got Hyde up at the top lane. That'll be a nice easy kill for Execration. He's either want to take that on the Tiny. Of course, while that previous fight was breaking out, FBZ was taking a massive amount of ancient stacks, and he's looking pretty farmed with his bristleback. They force in the mid-tier 1 tower now. They're trying to chip away at the HP pool of FBZ, but he's not really taking much damage. Instead, they'll go onto Makoto, but he's going to be just fine as they try to avalanche. Just not going to be in range there for BDZ.
Radiant's middle tower has been denied.
Won't be enough as top side, Nico
is under attack.
has been caught by Hyde, and Nico has to run. He has the stampede, he will use it, but the snowball is going to make it. It won't matter. There was no shards up. They could not lock him down. He and the stampede will work out.
It's not too bad. Stampede cooldown is steady 90 now, so you're not going to have too much downtime on it. You've got Battle Fury up on Palos, so you've stalled long enough that the PA can truly try to play this farming game now. And there is a smoke here. Execration wants to play aggressive with Yoe.
Oh, they found Makoto on the Storm. That's a massive target again with the silence out from RR. Is it going to be enough? Yoe, he's trying. He does get it in time. That's a Hyde. He'll try to return with an Ember kill himself. But Yoe looking pretty healthy now as BDZ is going to make his way in onto the Tusk, and they'll get another. Said it before, I'll say it again, John. You don't want to see a Storm dying like that.
No, it's a bit too confident coming out from Mikato. They're not respecting the jump potential here from Execration, not respecting the silences as well. Like, once the Grimstroke comes in to follow up from the root, you're kind of stuck. There's no one to back up Mikato. He's really far forward. Boom, they are still ahead. They're still getting some farm here, but you can see Mikado starting to dip behind. Palos is now ahead of him. He's still ahead of Yoe, which is good news, but you want to get that farm going onto the Storm. I mean, FBZ with farm is great, but you do have to consider the scaling. Like, the Bristleback's super strong, but you really want the Storm to be able to stand in front and fight earlier on.
FBZ diving in by himself here on the Bristle, does get RR. Now Nico's being chased down. BDZ's thinking about going back in here. They can easily get XctN. Freezing Field, though, has been thrown out, but it's not going to last very long. But at least kill off the CM, but now FBZ, he wants to keep going. He's still got the double damage rune active, and look at the damage output. BDZ, he gets used up, and he's gone. Oh my goodness. He's hitting for 400 damage.
Yeah, you can't underestimate Warpath with the DD. Lots coming out, and even the nasal goo. The minus armor was slightly buffed. I believe it was plus 0.1 across each level. It's still really impactful. Once the stacks come in, that could be one full additional armor taken away. There's a lot going on here for the Bristle. With the Yule's up, he can get control for himself, stop the TPs away, and we saw that in play for FBZ. So a lot of that gold is sinking into the Bristle. You're not too far behind on Dream itself, which is great. The BKB is flying out for the Ursa relatively soon. Our PA in comparison, Paula's still saving up for a Deso. Will probably need a BKB and definitely will need the Aghanim Shard for that break on FBZ if they want to find any hope of really so nice, quick, and easy.
Top lane. And Palos is going to be allowed to farm up. He has more help coming in to boot, so Execration looking for another big team fight. The Stampede up in 10 seconds. Odo, he spotted them out. Nico, this is the stun. Odo is being very, very patient to zip away. In fact, they're going to go right back in onto Nico. Soulbite is out now with the double silences though, and the toss up onto the Storm. And Makoto, he might just be gone, and he does die as they even get Hyde. BZ will try and get something for their trouble, but Nico's back in onto XctN and BDZ. He will get another kill before he dies. And BZ, he gets one for his trouble, but it's another lackluster team fight for Boom Esports.
Yeah, I mean, Execration just finds the softer targets they want. Even if they miss that initiation on Nico, they had the backup this time around. They get the damage off, and it's just down to the fact that the Storm has nothing defensive. Like, Mikato only has the Orchid to play with. He really needs something to help out. The BKB is going to be great once he farms it up. He needs the space now to play catch-up. Like, you've got two cores draining the map. FBZ is taking out all the camps. So is Dreamosol. But that leaves Mikato stuck kind of farming the lanes and farming uncontrolled parts of the jungle, which is not ideal. You need to bleed that space out to the Storm, get the BKB going, and then you could start to play again with Mikato. You could start looking for the angles, rip through the Grimstroke first, and work your way from there.
Bot lane, FBZ is going to start pushing in that tier 2 tower. He will have help behind him in case he needs it. So even though these team fights have not really been working out, they are still feeling confident enough to keep pushing down these towers.
Is under attack.
And it is fair as well, as they are 4k ahead in terms of net worth. EDZ, he's looking for a way in, but he's the only one there. In fact, never mind that, there is a smoke in the backside now. Shard is pretty on target. BDZ has been caught, but Nico is in onto FBZ. Do they want the Bristle first? It looks like they do, but there's your freezing thought. Now Makoto is in onto RR. And Makoto actually dies in the middle of all that. That'll be your Storm Spirit gone. Now Hyde needs to get out as Yoe is going to start chasing them down with the Ember. And see if we can catch him. Now a double stun is out from Nico in the tree line. They'll get the toss up. They'll kill Nico, but they got Hyde as a trade. Now Dreamosol forced to join in with his team. Doesn't really want to be here on the Ursa.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Overall, it still kind of seems decent as they keep going. Dreamosol in danger now as Palos has joined in. Pops his BKB, he's going to try and fight this one out, but Yoe is just kiting him around as BDZ kills off XctN and Dreamosol. His BKB is wearing off. It looks like his time is over as he won't even get the tiny kill.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Another bad team fight for Boom Esports.
And they're just not able to kill off these key heroes in the middle of these fights. Like, they get baited in onto the Tiny, they don't find BDZ, and they get the silence off with RR. Yoa just dives in, and again, without the BKB, the Storm is just a sitting duck to all of that control on Execration's end. And you just see a massive kiting issue here for the Ursa. He's going for the Blink next. It helps him get in, it doesn't help him get out. And that's where you really feel the hurt of the lack of Abyssal. We're not seeing any sort of movement into the Ag Shard here as well for the added Enrage on the Earthshock. That could be really helpful, but I'm not sure if it's something that they're even trying to commit into. Execration, they've got a lot of space.
Mid lane, Hyde. Been caught out. Nico will come in for the double edge. That'll be enough for the task, but they've caught RR. They can keep going now with FBZ. A nice hoof stop there from Nico to slow them down as they continue to chase onto BDZ. Blanche there. trying to disengage as Yoe shows himself now as well, but BTC is still being chased. And it looks like they will give up the Tiny. That'll be a double kill out for Dreamercell.
Yeah, it's not the biggest loss there for Execration. Those are two supports. You don't feel too bad. It does open up the possibility for Roche here for Boom. And of course, with an Ursa, Roche still falls really quick. Execration maybe could try to make a play with Yoe, but they don't. They do have vision. They know the Roche is happening. Should make their way now if they want to contest, but it just falls fast.
It doesn't look like they're going to make it quite in time as Dreamercell. He picks up the Aegis, and now they move onto the high ground. Palos may get scouted out here by FBZ, and does. Zip in, Makoto with the Orchid will silence immediately. The PA is in pretty big danger, as he did not go for a BKB, but rather Deso. Palos being a little bit punished there.
Yeah, I don't fault him. Like, he does need the Desolator, especially since they don't have an easy way to break that Bristleback. Even the Ursa is really tanky at this point, so you do need that minus armor on hand if you want your PA to actually get some kills off. But now it's also time for Execration to sit back and wait for their BKBs. You're seeing the power of Boon start to come through. Mikado was very close to his BKB, one part away, basically just lacking a recipe at this point. And with his Aegis up, Dreamercell's much more safe in the front line. He's almost got his blink, pretty much has it after this tower. So once that flies in, the Ursa can jump in, join the storm in the initiation. You're also seeing some good build-up here for FBZ. He's got the Hood of Defiance and the Vanguard up, so he's very protected.
FBZ, lane, bit of an initiation there into FBZ.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Top tier 2, going to be defended just with the glyph. Still going for a fight here, Execration, if they really want. They are moving in. Dreamercell gets caught out, but he gets it very fast and rage. And now a great chance in from Hyde, blocking the way, and that'll be Nico. Going down, still BDZ is into the backline that kills off XctN, but now BDZ has given his own life away. You do at least get a secondary in the form of the task. BDZ wants to keep going for more. Yoe, no remnants available, is going to try and TP out. Oh, and FBZ, he could not get the vision for the Yules off. So a 2-for-2 trade, favoring the side of Boom Esports.
Tower is under attack.
Now it's just a great chance.
Yeah.
You see right here, John, just blocking the way perfectly for Dreamercell, and you never really want to be stuck between Dreamercell and a hard places. Mid lane now, Makoto. Dreamercell, he's going to try and fight this out. RR does die, but Palos is on the way out. Makoto, again, another kind of awkward death for him on this storm. Now Nico's going to jump in onto FBZ. Let's get the Yule Scepter off in time to avoid the stun and go back in onto Yora's Dreamercell. Onto Nico now. BDZ trying to help him out with the Avalanche, but the Enrage was there in time. And Nico, or maybe not yet, Palos gets a slow off Dreamercell. He may have gone too far. He's going to try and get himself out of this one, but he will lose the Aegis. Could they get him another time? BDZ is going to try and toss back, but that is a great blink out from Dreamercell. And now BDZ could be in danger. They even have the freezing field from the high ground. Palos is going to try and run. BDZ, he'll buy back. The Stampede is there. FBZ, the one being targeted on the bristle. He'll go down. Dreamercell very low in terms of HP. But he's going to keep fighting this one out. But here comes Palos and Yoem. But here comes Makoto trying to save the day. He's already lost his Ursa. He's quite low on mana. He needs to be careful here. Palos is not trying. The evasion is working out for him. And now Makoto is going to get punished for zipping in. Oh, it's a very optimistic zip in there from our Storm. And poor old XctN. Gonna get tossed up in the air. Inkswell there, and you know XctN's gone. And that's a full team wipe. Execration looking very good now. They still don't have the net worth lead, but even with the net worth deficit, they're still making these team fights work.
Yeah, the issue for Boom is kiteability. Like, both Ursa and Bristleback are kind of stuck in place. Even with the blink up and the Ursa coming in, you can't jump around like a PA does. You can't jump around like the Ember does. You can't follow up if the Tiny gets someone tossed in. It's just really difficult to get these melee cores in a good position, and there's just no itemization to help that out. Like, you've already got the blink from the Ursa. He's going into the Basher next. Abyssal is not going to fix any of those issues. And as the game goes on, they've got to figure out a way to start digging through the PA evasion. Like, you don't necessarily want the MKB on the Ursa. You definitely don't want it as well in the Storm, but someone has to be able to hit and burst down Palos because he's just getting really strong, and he doesn't even have a BKB yet.
I didn't realize in that replay that
Are scanning.
that the blink in from Palos cost him his life. I was wondering how he died, and well, Static Remnant is a thing.
Dire are
Nevertheless,
scanning.
still a great team fight here for Execration. Obviously, a bit of frustration there. So overall, I mean, Boom Esports, regardless of what's happening in this game, are holding the net worth lead somehow. Still sitting at 6k. Now they've got the basher up on
Radiant's
Dreamer
bottom
Cell.
tower is under attack.
They're going to go back into that tier 2 bottom tower.
Radiant's tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom
They've got it.
tower has fallen.
Yeah, it's building in here for Boom. I still worry about the Ursa's impact. Like, sure, you can kill off everyone else, but if you can't touch the PA, then that's a massive issue. And Palos does go for the minus armor talent, so he's starting to make everyone a bit squishier. I think there would have been a lot of value in the evasion talent here, just because, again, who builds an MKB on the side of Boom? It's not being queued up yet by Dreamercell. It's not like you go for MKB on Bristleback. So evasion just feels really value, but again, Palos has been living through a ton anyway with what he has on hand, and Boom still needs to figure out a way of stopping that. Even just the shards as well coming out from Palos makes it so hard for FBZ to feel tanky in the front lines. He just gets broken, he's stuck, he can't really run around.
Dire's
And
top
it's just a
tower
game
is
of
under
mobility.
attack.
A lot of pressure is on Mikato, and I think the Ags timing for the Storm is going to have to come out at some point, just because they need so much control with that one jump in, because no one else can jump in and keep up with the mobility of Execration beyond Mikato's Storm.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Boom Esports still just sticking around in that mid lane, just trying to assert some dominance on the map.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Execration, they know that as long as they can hold out on Palos, things should go well later on, but there is a big smoke up now from Boom. Line's being drawn out, they know exactly where Palos
Radiant's
is.
middle tower is under attack.
They are going to miss the train here as Palos does back off, and now Execration going to be the ones that maybe just pop a smoker's 4. In fact, never mind that, they might just run up themselves. RR's got one. BZ. Sharp in that mid lane. Makoto gonna zip right in. He wants to go after the tiny burst and get the regen rune off of BDZ. The 4 stuff out. He's gonna save the day. As now Nico goes right back in. Makoto. Oh, there goes your Storm. Dreamer Cell is at least gonna kill off Nico. But now Palos can go onto FBZ and get another kill for himself. And he blinks right in. XctN is going to be targeted. Yoe, he'll take the kill. It's a DDPA. You don't want to be around her right now. Snowball going to delay things a little bit. He's going to try and blink to the left side, but BDZ is there to give the vision, and Palos will happily take the kill. Into the tier 2 mid tower they go.
And it's really falling flat for Boom. You can't have your Storm up front like that. Really greedy play for the regen. He went in just to grab the regen. He got punished super hard. Couldn't use the BKB. Very quick counter initiation coming out from Nico to make that work. And now BDZ.
Oh, Dreamer Cell. Nice blink away, but they know where he is. The pings are coming out. Do they have a way to stun him up? Yoet? No. Didn't have the Sleight of Fist. Couldn't go for the Sleight of Fist chains combo. Dreamer Cell's gonna run into Palos. They still have vision on the Ursa. It's gonna be very bad for Boom. They're not expecting this. Got no vision seeing this at all, and XctN is gonna be immediately taken out. Want to try for a Roshan, but there's no Roshan up yet for Execration.
Yeah, it's a little bit more time here for Execration to keep playing that farm game. Boom, they still maintain a slight 2k lead. And a lot of that's really just riding on Dreamer Cell and the fact that Execration has kind of sacrificed their other cores. They are wrapping around again, though.
They are. the 4v5 scenarios. They found Dreamersaw immediately. Kensuke's going to buy back. The Dreamersaw is still locked down. He'll get his BKB off eventually and go on to Nico. Meanwhile, Makoto's holding back everybody else. He kills off RR. It's going to be a 2-for-2 trade. Dreamersaw dying along with Hyde. BDZ will still go on to Makoto. He'll use the rest of his mana to try and zip away. Yoe to continue the chase. He knows he's very low in terms of mana. Palos will go onto FBZ instead. And they might just get him. FBZ, he's really not that tanky right now. As Kensuke might just die back. Palos, he just keeps changing targets. But eventually, he will get the die back. And this PA has become a really big issue here for Boom Esports. They don't really seem to have any of the answers.
It's just about to get worse. Palos is finally flying out a Basher. So they're going to have a stun on the PA. They're going to have a long-range stun with the Stifling Dagger if you're lucky with a proc. And it's just not something Boom has on their own. Like, again, all their control in terms of initiation is on Mikato. He's the only one that can zip in, lock one target in, and get the cleanup from the rest of his team. Boom just don't have the same impact. FBZ now, he's not feeling tanky. If Palos comes in with that Fan of Knives with the natural break, it's just so much durability taken away from Bristle that FBZ can't stall these fights out long enough to get enough Quilt Spray and Goose stacks up for his team to win. And Boom need to find some way to relieve that pressure. Dream Assault saving up for the Satanic. He is trying to farm up for an MKB as well. It just feels way too slow for the power spikes coming out from Execration. Like, they've dragged the lead down to just 2k, and they can line up for that next Roche. They do spot it with the illusion here.
Yeah, this is when you would have loved that the Divine Rapier still giving you True Strike here for Dreamercell, but he won't have that opportunity. What they do have, however, is a Roshan. And unfortunately, Palos left the Roshan pit a second early, and it's going to cost them the Aegis. It was literally a second early, and he would have had the Roshan. Just a bit of mistiming there, and now Boom, they're going to feel a little bit safer on this map.
Yeah, it's such an important Roche to take. I think second Roche is really the biggest one now. Like, first Roche is nice. You really don't want to give second Roche away. Free Ag Shard up for Dreamocell. So you do have that mini Enrage up with the Earthshock. And that can potentially buy enough time for Dreamocell to stay alive and get his damage off. There's still the issue of kiteability here for Dreamocell, but they still hold on to the 5k lead. Execration have to deal with 2 lives on the side of Boom and potentially just a cheese pop in the middle of it. Gotta be a bit cautious in reapproaching these fights here.
Boom, they're still posturing. They're feeling confident with this Aegis up. It's like Execration aren't actually too afraid of them either, even with that Aegis cheese. Not gonna back off. Still more farm to be had. Dreamercell, I mean, he's going to feel a little bit bad trying to go for this MKB, but obviously, you pointed it out earlier, but it's very necessary, and he does have it up now. If they can get a nice surprise reveal, Boom Esports could easily make their way back into this game.
This should make my life easier.
Especially when you've got those shards on top.
Yeah. Boom's got a lot of opportunities to show off that power. Execration are playing really smart. They don't want to fight into Aegis Cheese, they just stick as 5 and just kind of play as 5, not giving the opportunity for pickoffs. Boom will want to abuse that though. It's an opportunity.
He's been jumped on. They're holding the Fan of Knives for now, waiting for some follow-up, and BDZ is going to be there with the toss back onto the Bristle, and there's your Fan of Knives now, just ripping FBZ to shreds, but Makoto is in onto BDZ. He wants a tiny dead. He will have to eat the cheese to survive, as the damage output was so insane, but now Dreamercell is out onto Palos. They won't lock him down, instead turning back around onto Nico, but this might be good for Execration, as they've gotten a 3-for-2 so far, and Boom Esports, even with the Aegis, are forced to back off.
That's really good for Execration. It looked a bit wonky jumping in, trying to force a fight with Aegis Cheese, but they just get the blow up on the Bristle. They force the Cheese out on the Storm, and now you only have to worry about the Aegis. And Dreamcell, if he gets caught out, he's just gone.
It looks like he is gone, John. Yoe's got the double damage, or maybe not. He turns right back around. Yoe's the one who dies. Palos now, the shards blocking him away from the Ursa. He'll go on to hide instead, but Kescute, he's got the freezing build down. He'll kill off the +1 PA. Onto the Frostbite. They'll get another. And look at that, John. The position 5 Crystal Maiden saving the day again.
XctN just has really good positioning in this fight. I'm just so curious what happened there. Palos was on low ground. It looked like they had vision up the ramp. Maybe they were just above the ramp and they were still on the ramp, that they didn't have high ground vision. But he didn't manage to blink in and get that kill, and that really just ruined that fight for Execration. Props to Boom for holding that position quite nicely. They managed to dig through the mid set of towers now, and there are no buybacks on those heroes, so it's a bit of an opportunity for Boom to respawn Sarah and Mikado, who can zip down mid, and they can try to pressure the high ground. They still hold the Aegis here on Dreamosol.
They do it. Dreamosol really getting through that tier 3 tower very quickly. No buybacks on Execration is going to feel very bad right now. It felt like the momentum was finally behind them. But now they're going to be 2 Raxes down, it looks like, unless they can somehow defend this bottom lane of Rax. It looks very unlikely without Yoe and Palos. There's a double siege creep wave as well. Make things even juicier for Boom Esports. And suddenly Boom are back in the lead.
Yeah, Execration, just one whiffed fight, and it cost them. They kind of overextend after already finding the cheese and forcing the dieback. And now they're going to have to play against 2 waves of super creeps. They do have a really good way of clearing that out, but the economy is going to start to sink down. Boom has more control on the map. They can keep farming up. Dreamosol saving up for his Abyssal now. The Aegis will expire soon, so they will have to watch out. But the Swift Blink is up for Dreamosol. This could really help them out in getting that initial damage off now, and just trying to keep Palos down and killing him off before anything else happens.
Aegis does go. They are fighting without it. Palos needs to be very cautious. He'll jump in with the Inkswell immediately. However,
it's saved.
Snowball going to save the day, and they are going to move right back in. FBZ, he's still alive. Dreamosol onto the PA. Palos just perma-bashed up. The Frostbite to hold him down. They'll get the PA. There's no buyback available on Palos. Now Yoe, he's going to try and remnant his way away. Makoto, he got BDC on the Tiny, and it looks like Yoe, he might make some space here.
Thanks.
Eventually, Boom will realize there's no point chasing him down. They'll go after the final melee barracks, and well, there's a great snowball there from Hyde.
Yeah, he is just, he did a lot of work with that blink. The Tusk save, just giving them that fight. If they can't blow up FBZ with a first use of Fan of Knives, then he is just such a menace in the middle. And they're going to be able to clean up mega creeps for Execration to deal with. No Palos for a minute. They could just go for tier 4s if they wanted to force the issue here on Boom.
Gonna try. Makoto zips in. Yoe. Remnant out immediately. Very low on remnants on this Ember. Could make this team fight extremely hard. There'll be 1 tier 4 gone. Boom just want this game over and done with. This Makoto. He's in now on the Ember. Snowball is there to follow up with the BKB. Was there in time. Dreamosol, Soulblind is there to lock them down, but the Ancient is still falling. They are ignoring everyone, just going straight for the Ancient, and they will win out the game. Game 3 will go the way of Boom Esports in a very back and forth. Execration, it felt like they were very close, John, but just not close enough. And with that, we are going to head back to the panel, see what they thought about this game number 3.
Not quite close enough, but at least a satisfying ending to this 3-game series. Boom Esports end up taking it. It was touch and go there for a moment. Phantom Assassin had peaks, had valleys, but ultimately was not able to carry the game. And that, you know, I'm okay tanking that prediction.
Megas look smart, yes.
It was necessary. You guys need to look smart. I mean, credibility's at a minimum. I haven't played at a TI before. You guys have played at TIs before. What do I have?
Yeah,
to
we
prove?
got 1 out of 3. we show our experience. We show the knowledge. They're as expected. Like looking at these 2 drafts, expected the game to be a bit closer than the previous one. And yeah, it was close. But once a Ursa got his MKB up, it was like, yeah, this is the item. It's pretty much the only item. Not gonna say that it's left with the True Strike because there's still a Bloodthor, but you know it doesn't go through magic immunity. Also, Witchblade also has a True Strike, something that you don't buy on any of these heroes. So kind of hard to pierce through evasion from the Phantom Assassin. I like the Fan of Knives build from Phantom Assassin this time around. I think it has a lot of potential. 16% of max HP. Yeah, you heard that correctly. 16% of max HP, 3 seconds duration. It's a lot of numbers, a lot of damage. Bristleback, I think he was preparing for that Fan of Knives because like he built Yule Scepter as his second item. It's a 3-second duration, 2.5-second duration on the Yule Scepter. You said it's not dispellable black, so yeah, you need the way to deal with it.
Yeah, I think just probably status resistance is a better way to deal with it because in the end it's still only 3 seconds. You know, like if he jumps on you, he uses it, you get crit, you die. Like either way, pretty much. So I would much rather prefer just some more tankability. And I gotta admit, I was sweating buckets because this Ursa just didn't want to get MKB earlier. Like I feel like if he just gets MKB after the BKB, this game is gonna be a lot easier because they were ahead 10k and this PA single-handedly almost brought Execration back into this game.
Ursa had 2 big power spikes. Them being able to get that second Roche and him getting the shard.
That is,
that is
one
big.
of the more ridiculous shards in Dota right now.
Yeah.
People will, you know, eventually there's gonna be a game where Ursa like gets Octarine Core, Spell Prism, and his Perma.
Arcane Rune.
Yeah, that's just have a Perma Enrage, what we all been waiting for. I think this game also shows the potential of Crystal Maiden as a hero. Like once BKBs are down, the Frostbite plus ulti, it's just like so much damage.
He killed the PA from half health.
He killed the PA.
By himself, yeah.
And yet again, we are underwhelmed with the support Tiny. It keeps happening.
I don't know, like, because I can, you know, talk about the support Tiny not being good for like 30 minutes. To just sum it up, you have 2 abilities, like you hit the peak pretty much at level 8, and this is your combo. Yes, it gets better with the Grow, but you're not utilizing the damage coming out from Grow, you're not utilizing your third ability. It's just a hero with 2 spells. Like, why would you want to have a hero that has 2 spells?
Yeah, just give me a hero with 4 spells, like Enrage, and then build it into Earthshock. Gotta give Dreamacell the MVP, and purely just because he built the Monkey King bar. You know, massive credit to him. Got to build some sort of accuracy versus a Phantom Assassin. Now, he played well overall in the lane. And
yeah, he managed to recover. You know, they tri-lane him at the start. Still was Brown Boots 11-minute Battle Fury, which is pretty impressive. A bit greedy, you know.
Yeah, but I mean,
carry
PA
players,
also do the same thing.
Yeah, they will always find a way to be greedy.
Yeah, and most of the time not get away with it.
yeah, this time he had to put the game on his shoulders quite a bit because Makoto not meeting our standards.
He
especially.
struggled quite a bit. But maybe, you know, it's a bit unfair because he was pretty much the single reason why they were not on the bottom of the group. Like, he owned super hard last season. So probably our expectations are a bit too high to meet every game.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, you said at the start, you know, he doesn't need to carry that much at the start because, you know, they have Dreamacell now. They have a reliable carry that
big boy,
yeah, that's gonna be, you know, able to transition this farm, the space that he gets into something into mid and late game.
Well, then why not take a chance to speak to him right now? We will get an opportunity to interview Dreamacell from Boom Esports. Do we have him on the line right now? Dreamacell, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you. Hello.
Dreamacell, welcome back. Welcome back to Upper Division. I got to get this question out of the way right now. What were you doing off of Boom? What was the story? Why'd you leave?
I think it was a depressing, depressing phase. It was quite hard, but it's a learning process for me as well.
Okay.
And then I just got invited again. That's all. I'm here to prove myself to the team that I'm not the problem.
So we're gonna, you know, say that you did not leave voluntarily, huh?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So, like, I want to talk to you about, like, the patch in general. How do you prepare, like, when the new patch drops? Like, what do you do? Do you go in? Like, do you test every single thing? Do you just play the pubs? Like, what's the routine?
I check the carry, mostly carry and I like visits, so I've been trying visits in pubs, and the solar crest uh, buff, like it's cheaper now. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I've been testing and just playing pubs and practice with the
Yeah, I
team.
like what you do. You know, you control F, type Phantom Lancer, see what buffs he received, and then just go from there. I like that. My boy Black has one question for you as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be asking you the same question that I ask everybody right now because I'm struggling in my MMR
Now you're just
games.
collecting information.
Yeah, I'm collecting information, exactly. Your top 2 heroes to gain MMR right now, please. I need them.
Visits for me, visits and Luna or PL.
Okay.
It's pretty
3 heroes for
busted.
2. I like
Yeah.
that. Thank you very much.
You get one extra.
Yeah, 1 extra for the price of 2.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Thank you very much.
Last question is, you had spent time in lower division. Do you think that you were able to learn anything on a different team as opposed to, because your competitive history, you've been on Boom the entire time, and then 0-2, and now back on Boom. So hopefully, did you gain any experience that you wouldn't have gained?
I do gain a lot of experience, like the things that before I leave Boom, some knowledge that I'm not sure of if this is right or not, and then when I play at 0-2, and then someone's like confirms that my knowledge is like correct, and then my confidence level just rise, and I'm like super confident. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it.
So it was a learning process.
Absence makes the heart grow
Always.
fonder, for sure. And I think that
Yes.
both you and Boom are both happy that reunited at last the way that it should be. But congratulations on a hell of a performance in this series, and looking forward to the rest of Boom in this league.
Yeah, it was quite a clown fest.
Happens to the best of us. Congratulations, and we'll speak to you later.
Yeah. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
very
Bye
much.
bye.
Yo, thank you. Bye bye.
Oh, good. So it wasn't just from our perspective. Even from within the game, it was a clown fest as
I
well.
mean, it looked that way. For sure, when you play, it probably also feels that way, you know, just back and forth the entire game. Yeah, just
considering
happens
all the
sometimes.
like circumstances, like the game should not be played that way, but you're in the game, so you need to, you know, get the best out of it. Need to find a way how to win that type of a game.
Yeah, well, we can take a look at the standings. Didn't add too much onto the list compared to yesterday, although lower division also did play a handful more games. Here in the upper division, on the left side of your screen, Omega, TNC, and Boom got their first victories. Lilgun were only playing Omega as their one opponent, but Execration fall to
Looking
both
rough.
TNC and Boom. It's looking rough.
It's a rough one. You know, you start with 2-0. You still have to play, you know, some of the big names as well.
All of the big names.
Yeah,
pretty
this
much,
format is not forgiving. Like when you start this way, you're most likely, you know, not gonna make it to the major. Pretty much, you know, anything is possible, but when you start this way, it
Middle of
also,
the pack,
Yeah,
usually.
middle of the pack. You're trying to stay inside the upper division, pretty much.
Okay, well, I think we can. We've resolved the bracket, but we need to resolve our internal tournament. We need to resolve the prediction kings. I say kings. It's plural. Oh, there was no prediction king.
Now we will. What?
It's invisible.
We got it.
I don't think
No.
going 33% qualifies you for the king.
Okay.
Like we can be, you know, prediction peasant, whatever. Like we
This,
can be.
this is- you cloak and daggered these predictions. I couldn't see them.
I mean, we...
Prediction, you know, the production is just having fun with these predictions. They're making fun of us.
As are we.
We can also take a look at what we've got on a Saturday when we return to Southeast Asia. Lilgun versus Boom. Going to be starting things off in the day. And then T1, we get a chance to look at them for the first time. They will be playing against Smart Omega.
Tier 1, yeah.
Tier 1, T1. Maybe at the major they weren't looking quite Tier 1, but 23 Savage on the roster now from the beginning of the season. So
Yeah.
Like he's the one who makes the difference. Like you could feel, like even when he was playing for Boom as a stand-in, you could feel the difference. This is something that they needed, even for T1. The major wasn't that great for them, but they need a bit, I would say, a bit more international experience. I hope it was the learning experience for them, and they transitioned that into something big this time around.
Gotta say though, T1, the player Jackie they removed, right after they got to the major, he was the second 12k MMR player. He has now taken the top 1 spot from 23. And now he's in Motivated Trust and owning himself, So there's always a happy ending somewhere out there.
Yeah, keep your eyes on the lower division. Things are happening there too. So all around Southeast Asia, all of this is brought to you by Secret Lab Chairs, making all of this possible with PGL, as well as HyperX. Much love to these sponsors, and much love to you guys for watching. We're going to be back with Southeast Asia on Saturday, but there's plenty of Dota going around. We'll see you then when we come back.